horrifying. And if these are true, and there is no police report at this time with Fesco and Dusty, and he was giving some more insight on what he had tried to seek out, information, of course, and he did some digging last night, and there, to this point, has not been a police report filed in the Dallas, Texas area, where he has ties and she has ties, or the Kansas City metro area either. So we have this Instagram post with some awful photos showcasing, injuries, I guess is all we could say at this point in time. Where they came from, we don't know. She alleges, obviously, where they came from would be Rashee Rice. If, in fact, this is true, it's pretty simple. He's not on the Chiefs anymore.
Yeah.
And maybe not in the NFL anymore. If in fact, this is actually true, and if, in fact, we ever get a police report. And that's the part I have no idea how it plays out. Let's say fast forward 2 months from now, and nothing else has ever come out about this. Where are we at? I don't know if anything changes at that point. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but just, do you know what I mean? Like, if we never get a police report, how does the NFL proceed?
The league doesn't punish people for allegations of this anymore. They wait until there's actual police stuff. So, like, that part will make it a bit of a challenge. Look, if any part of this allegations ends up in filing a police report, all this stuff, he'll be gone instantly. They're not going to, for a team that and look, I've joked on the show a lot, for a team that looks past a lot of character issues for players, they're not going to let somebody get in massive legal trouble, get suspended for a huge chunk of time, and then get in trouble immediately. And considering the nature of the allegations, if this was, that just doesn't keep a player on a team. So if any of this bears out, he's gone. The truth is, because the allegations are out there anyway, I'd be surprised if there's any chance he is here long-term anyway. Like, just the way it shakes out. Those allegations being out there, the Chiefs' history already with this player, that there's any circumstance in which Gold, we would have been like, oh, maybe they'll extend him. All that stuff feels out the window, which does lead us to, like, because we don't want to get too much into the allegations right now because there's a very limited amount of information. And if and when these things turn out to be true, I'll be the first person to tell you, run them out of town.
For sure. There should be no question. I don't know anybody.
It will be a very long line of people.
It'll be pretty simple.
Ready to say that. And so all those parts, and it really is horrifying. And, like, all this stuff is really awful. From a Chiefs perspective, it completely changes their offseason. On the football end of this, now we have to way more entertain Tyson or Carnell Tate in the first round. What you do with Travis Kelce's contract. If you want to go seek a free agent wide receiver, maybe one who ran himself out of town in a different place, like Brandon Ayuk, you have to entertain a lot of things offensively that you weren't necessarily entertaining before, at the risk that Rashee Rice is not a member of the team anymore. You have to consider that as a viable option. If you're Brett Veach looking at your future offseason right now, you got to figure out what's next for you. So, like, that part is going to open up the longer conversation. They don't have to make any decisions on it yet.
Right.
But they definitely have to kick more around, don't they?
Well, any of the discussion that was going on early, I'm talking much earlier in the season, I think it quieted down anyway based off of team performance and his own performance. But I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks after he had come back from the injury and suspension that he had this year, and really it was suspension, right? That's why he missed the first 6 games.
Yeah.
There was talk then, I think we even had a conversation on the show about, would this be an offseason that you would extend Rashee Rice? And whether or not we ever, as you said, get a police report or anything like that, I mean, how can you feel confident in giving this individual an extension? Also, an extension that you don't have to give him this offseason anyway. You can play it out. You can completely play it out. And now more than ever, I would just play it out.
Yes.
Even if we get no other update on this the rest of the way. Is this somebody you can trust? I don't even need it. But the answer is no.
No.
The answer is no, whether or not these are proven to be true or not, based off of the prior legal issue. Remember, he still is going to be serving 30 days in jail at some point in the next couple of years.
He could serve a lot more if any charges are filed in this, because part of his probation is he has to stay out of legal trouble, and we don't know what will come of this.
Look, I think there's some people listening, and I've seen on the text line, and it's hard for me to push back. There's some people who are saying whether or not it's true or not, some people are just done and just want to stop embarrassing the franchise and the city. And I totally understand that perspective on this as well, Cody.
This is exactly what happened with Tyreek Hill. Not even just here but when he went to Miami too, and you and I have talked about this on the show, at some point, whether it's as serious as it seems, as, like it is as serious as it seems. It's not as serious as it seems. It's just an alleged guy that, you hit a boat captain like you're Tyreek Hill. Stay out of the news. Like at some point, it's a pretty simple process. You got in massive trouble. So just sit on your ass, watch Antiques Roadshow for 6 months, and do nothing. Don't get in trouble. Don't get in the news. Don't put in your position for anybody to, do anything to get you in trouble. And that part is where, I'm with him in the sense of, yeah, I'm fine. I'm no extension. There's no, I'm
yeah, a bare minimum.
No
Cody,
matter.
At bare minimum, I am just play it out and don't ever consider an extension. Yeah. I'm also not far away from just being at some point, is it even worth having the headache? But I also understand. Let's just talk the football side for a second. We typically know how this stuff works in the NFL, and I'm not saying it's right, but you have the evaluation of is the player in this case worth the problems based on performance. And I'm not saying that's how we should operate, but that's how NFL teams do operate. And have you reached a point where he's too much of a problem versus ability? And the Chiefs are going to have to answer that for themselves. Whether or not we get more information or not, they will have to make that decision this offseason and moving forward. You're right, though. If, in fact, they believe that this is something that could jeopardize his playing status for 2026, then not only is it number 9, Cody, when you talk about having to consider a wide receiver in play, and by the way, it's already in play anyway, before these allegations yesterday. I mean, that was already a possibility, Carnell Tate or somebody at 9. But, we've been talking for the last couple of days about Travis Kelce, and you and I both are certainly open to him coming back. My whole thing was hey, at the right price, I'll tell you this, if Rashee Rice has to be cut,
well, then the price.
Well, then Travis Kelce, beg him to come back, and he can make $18 million. I don't care, because you can't go into next season without Kelce and Rice, unless you want to completely rip the Band-Aid off and say, man, it is a complete teardown 2026, and I don't believe that's where they're headed. So it's a mess. Obviously, nobody likes to see anything that came out yesterday. It's terrible. Feel terrible no matter who is right or wrong with the allegations, because you got kids involved in this whole thing. It's a complete mess, and it sucks, and it's awful. And I think everybody, at the very least, understands the serious nature of what is alleged.
I genuinely think the best case scenario, not best case, I think the minimum this will end up being as far as how the Chiefs handle this is, he plays out the final year of this deal and he's never remember the Chiefs again. That is genuinely the most time Rice will play as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Can't give him an extension. Are you kidding me?
How can you? I mean, genuinely, how can you? Before we were talking, well, this car trouble is going to put him at a discount, a steeper discount than most wide receivers discount. I don't care about discounts anymore. He either through injury or his own stupidity can't stay on the field. And so those things don't make it viable, which means your current future weapons for Patrick Mahomes are Xavier Worthy, who's averaging 500 yards a season for his first 2 years. Not good enough. And an aging Travis, not good enough. You have to draft, trade, or sign a number 1 target for Patrick Mahomes this offseason. Because if he is in the final year of his deal, and you and I both agree that is, it seems like the longest he would be a member of the Chiefs. Well, then after 1 calendar year, you have no future weapons for Patrick Mahomes unless you think Xavier Worthy is getting ready to take a huge leap in year 3 and he's going to turn into a 1. I don't think that at the moment.
Yeah, next year's, of course, a massive year for Xavier.
But that's why I mentioned, that's why I'm dead serious about a guy like Ayuk. He's going to get cut anyway. I think he's going to be available on a shorter-term deal than normal as a result of the fact that he quit on the 49ers. And I'm not saying that hasn't come with problems.
That's a red flag as well. Yeah.
It is a red flag. There's no doubt about it.
I mean,
I'm not trying
different
to
type of red flag, but yes.
But he is a similar type and body type receiver to that as Rashee Rice and runs a similar route tree. And at times in the NFL has appeared to be the quality of a, at least low-end, number 1 wide receiver. Similar to that is Rashee Rice. So, if I'm looking for solutions, because it's that or you just got to draft Carnell Tate and tell me he's not Marvin Harrison Jr., but instead he's some of the other guys who are immediately 1,000-yard guys the second they step put on an NFL field. Or you're going to trade for somebody. You're going to have to make a move to secure some weapons around Mahomes. He can't be coming off of this knee injury. Throw into Xavier Worthy, a 38-year-old Travis Kelce, and Alec Pierce? What's the best free agent wide receiver you could sign? Maybe it's Pierce. And he's a home run guy. He'd just be like getting better version of Hollywood Brown. So like they've got, like, I mean, we were worried about the defensive line, and I still am, but like all of a sudden, what part of the offense is together other than Patrick Mahomes and hopefully the offensive line? We can maybe talk about that tomorrow, but you need a new running back, and you certainly look like you need some new weapons. Like their offseason feels complicated offensively.
We'll certainly keep an eye on if there's any new information today and moving forward at all with the very serious allegations involving Rashee Rice. Something tells me we probably aren't going to hear much more, Cody, today, and it might be a bit if, in fact, we ever find out more information, but it has serious football ramifications. But, of course, there's the real life and the real important stuff, which is involving that relationship and some pretty horrifying images and actions that are alleged from that Instagram post involving the ex-girlfriend of Rashee Rice. All right, let's pivot, if at all possible, to this weekend, which is wild card weekend in the NFL. And we'll get into the NFC probably more tomorrow on the show. But on the AFC side, yesterday we talked about some of the teams and the storylines and, you know, selfishly what you want to see happen. Maybe you don't want to see Josh Allen and the Bills win. Maybe you do. We're going to have our guest from Buffalo we've had on over the years, Mike Schoop, who is
first time they're not playing each other in a postseason run.
Works, seriously. Yeah, works up at Buffalo at WGR 550. We've had some fun over the years talking to him. Unique, as you said, this go around with them in the playoffs, the Chiefs not. Want to talk about their game. I don't want to say a majority, but a good chunk of people think the Jags can pull this thing off. I mean, they're the home team, but think they can pull this off versus the legacy aspect for Josh Allen, which is, hey, you don't have Mahomes, you don't have Lamar, you don't have Burrow to get in your way. Like, you got to figure it out. And then there's the coaching element. We'll ask Mike about Sean McDermott. And does he believe if Sean McDermott were to lose against Jacksonville, would the Bills fire Sean? So that's something we'll get into. But what else about the playoff? I think we've talked a ton about the Jags-Bills game. I think that's got everybody's attention. I still think Chargers-Patriots, man. Like, if we're predicting upsets and all, I think the Patriots win that game. I don't think the Chargers are healthy enough to go win that. I think the Patriots not only are the better team, but Justin Herbert can play great. And I don't know if he's able to do that throughout an entire game based off of the injuries around him. And that defense of the Patriots, not to mention, we have not seen the Chargers against this kind of competition have a mistake-free game. And I don't know if they're capable on the road of doing it. Yes, Herbert now has been in a couple postseasons. Drake May hasn't. So maybe you're going to bank on that Drake May gets flustered. But I have seen
Herbert
nothing.
Didn't play great in the postseason. The time he's been there.
No, well, he's been terrible for the most part. I have not seen anything to suggest, though, that Drake May is going to get, rattled. He's got an experienced head coach that's been in these spots. He does have Stephon Diggs, who's been there before. I think Drake May and the Patriots win this game.
So I will give, as much as we like to joke about the Chargers and the butt end of a lot of jokes, I give the Chargers a ton of credit because I think they've overcome a significant amount to manage to still be 11-6. And I think there's parts of their roster that really work. They're just worse than the Patriots. They're on the road. They're a worse team, playing worse. And I just think that this is where they run out of steam. I think anybody in the AFC games can certainly win. And the more likely blowouts are like the Eagles over the 49ers or the Rams over the Panthers.
Yeah, the Niners are in trouble with all their injuries, man.
And so, I think that the Chargers have a better chance of winning their game than the two I previously mentioned. But in the end, yes, I think for that game, I think the Patriots move on. Drake May's playing really well. But the thing we still don't know about Drake May, and this is what's always so interesting about the MVP stuff, I've seen lots of quarterbacks have good regular seasons. Are you a playoff performer is something I don't know about any of the quarterbacks other than Aaron Rodgers 10 years ago and Josh Allen for a majority of his career. Trevor Lawrence has had a good game in the postseason when he came back to beat the Chargers, but also he's played in so few, we also still don't know about that. Let's go to that Bills-Jags. Well, you know what? Actually, that's the most interesting one. Let's go to the Steelers-Texans game for just a minute because the Bills-Jags one is fascinating for even the simple reasons like the Bills haven't won a road playoff game in 33 years. And so, that part kind of sticks with me, and I'm very back and forth, I guess, on that game. Steelers-Texans is going to be the ugliest playoff game of the weekend, and I want everyone to mentally prepare for Monday night when that game is 13-10 in the fourth quarter
I think it's higher scoring.
with 7 minutes to go, and it's ugly as hell. Maybe I'm wrong, and it's going to go the opposite way. I think it is going to be an absolute slugfest and an unenjoyable football watch, but it's going to come down to the last couple of possessions, and that's where I kind of start leaning towards the Steelers. Because if it's down to the last couple of possessions and one quarterback's going to make a play, believe it or not, I still trust Aaron Rodgers to do that more than C.J. Stroud.
I hear you. I got questions about Stroud. I disagree just, I guess, on the script of the game, if you will, the game flow. I think the Texans defense, while we've been talking about them championship caliber, and I get it, they gave up 30 to Riley Leonard this past week in a game in which the Texans were trying to win with their starters. And then they gave up 21 to the Raiders, 20 to the Cardinals. They've also had some games this year. Like, I don't know if I like how the Texans defense is playing the last couple weeks, like at the same level that they were before. I actually think we're going to see more points. DK Metcalf is back. Maybe the Steelers don't win, but they're at home. I think this is higher scoring than we think. I don't think it's a 16-13. I think this is in the 20s. I think this is a 24-21 type of game. And I'll go with the underdog. I'll go with the home dog and Mike Tomlin, and I'll say the Steelers win. Either way, I just think it's higher scoring.
So I got Patriots. I've got Steelers. We're the same so far. Because again, there's something about, like, I like the Texans team, but I do think it's going to come down to the final possession. And at this point, I don't trust CJ Stroud to do it. And I don't know. It's Mike Tomlin. He'll just find some way to win that stupid football game. Bills, Jags. We'll talk the NFC tomorrow. We promise.
Bills, Jags. It's.
I'm sorry. It's the best game of the weekend, or it's the game I'm the most excited for this weekend. Obviously, I can't guarantee
it could be the best game of the weekend. Yeah. We know the narratives. We know the legacy aspect for both McDermott and for Josh Allen. Trevor Lawrence is playing his best football, and that Jags defense is the real deal. Maybe I oversimplify this. I don't know about you. Come playoff time, a lot of times, if it's a close game and you're torn, I'm going to go with the best quarterback. And Josh Allen is still the best quarterback in the AFC on the playoff side that is in it still. And so I'll take Josh Allen still. I'll lose my money betting on Josh Allen over betting on Trevor Lawrence. And maybe that'll be a mistake. And there's part of me that wants the Jags to win, but I'm not picking against Buffalo.
So I've been very back and forth. I think at any point this week, I've both thought the Jags and thought the Bills would win that game. That 30-plus year road playoff drought doesn't feel like it really applies to the Bills or this version of the Bills. Like, Josh Allen and the entire Bills organization is not responsible for some road playoff games they were losing in the early 2000s with J.P. Lossman or whoever the hell managed to make some random playoff victory. The road playoff games they've been losing with Josh Allen during this run have been to either Cincinnati or Kansas City and teams that are reasonable to lose against. The problem I have is the Jags are the better team. They are. They have the better defense, and I think they have the better offense. I just think they have
maybe the hottest team in football too.
Yeah, I just think they're the better team. And I think McDermott's kind of a bozo in the playoffs and makes some mistakes that they don't. And there's been some part of the Bills I've never fully believed in this year, and it's probably a mistake, admittedly, for what you said. And I should just go with the better quarterback playing the better football. But I'm going to go with the better team. And I think the Jags win this game because when you look at rushing yards allowed, the Bills are the number one rushing team in football. Probably something people didn't realize. The reason why they are...
James Cook in that rush attack and Josh Allen is unbelievable. And the Jags defense is what? One of the best against the run, right?
Yes. But you would have been, most people would have been surprised to find out that they were the number one rush offense in the NFL. That is the only reason the Bills offense works. The Jags have the number one rush defense in the league. They are great at the thing that the Bills need to be great at in order for their offense to work. Because when it just starts getting over to pass, they don't have the bodies. They don't have the dudes, and they can't make it work. And Allen can't just single-handedly save them.
I hope the Jags win.
I think the Jags win.
I hope the Jags win, but Josh Allen has always played great in the postseason. That's not been their problem. He's not been the problem.
No,
he's been able to put on the Superman cape, and except for playing Mahomes, he's been able to put on the cape and been fine. So I'll go with Buffalo.
So at least we got one
with the better quarterback.
Drew, just rapid fire. Who do you think wins the 3 AFC games? Just the AFC.
Patriots, Jags, and then the other one was Houston. I think the Steelers won that game over Houston.
We all got the Steelers? Houston been the better team all year. It's just the Steelers. We just watched the Steelers. That makes me think Houston's winning. Everybody's
betting Houston, which also, I don't know, it's weird.
We'll see. Maybe this show's just we've been hanging out too much alike. I do see over on the text line, yes, we did see. The Dolphins did, if you missed the news earlier, the Miami Dolphins have fired head coach Mike McDaniel, probably because they're trying to get John Harbaugh. We can just say that right away. The Ross family and the Harbaugh family are apparently tight. And it seems weird that Mike McDaniel kept his job this entire time and is now only fired. What changed in the last 24 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. John Harbaugh became available. So it seems to me that they think they got to play there and they're going to make a move. If your question is, would I like Mike McDaniel as the OC in Kansas City? Yes.
Sure.
Yes, obviously, yes.
But why would he come here?
Outside thinker, outside mind, running a different offensive system, who has run an NFL offense and run an NFL team instantly. If Mike McDaniel would come be the OC here, sign me up. But you
play calling thing is
you
a
and I
problem
keep saying
again. And I know
is
you
there
can,
any world you think Andy would give up play calling?
I personally no. I hope I'm wrong in that he would. I just think
Do you think he needs
I think
to?
he would.
That's a different question.
I don't know if he necessarily needs to give up full blown play calling. I just think the influence has to be greater from the outside.
That I agree with.
The play calling part of it, I would be really intrigued to see what it would look like if somebody else was calling plays. I just don't think Andy Reid's willing to do that. And part of me, like, it's easy for us to say on the outside, like, just do it. I kind of understand why, if you're in his spot and the success you've had, why you wouldn't want to do that. I think he would retire before he does that. But I'll tell you this, if we were to ever find out that he brought in a new OC and he handed over play calling duties, I would instantly feel so much better, not just because I think the person could be better, but it would tell me that, boy, oh boy, any questions we would have about whether or not he's willing to adapt and all that, that would be completely answered. Now, he has adapted throughout his NFL career. This idea that he's never adapted is not true. The question is he willing to adapt on the one thing that he has always had the firm grasp on, which is offensive scheme and play calling and all of that. No, I don't think that's changing. Mike McDaniel, you're gonna leave. Now you're fired, so it's not even about leaving. You got fired by Miami, and you have other head coaching opportunities maybe out there, OC opportunities with other staffs, and you're going to come to Kansas City where you're not calling plays?
But here's the question I have, and I don't know all the OC offensive coordinator job openings right now. I know some of them because of the teams that – I know there's 8 of them because of the teams who don't currently have NFL head coaches, right? So, like, I can tell you the 8 teams who have openings. By the way, 25% of the league now has a head coaching vacancy, which is insane. I know Washington needs a new OC. Detroit needs a new OC. If Clint Kubiak gets a job, Seattle – it's probably going to be half the league. I would still say, though, that if I put him the 15 jobs that become available for offensive coordinator this offseason, and I think it might be 15 because it's 8 head coaching jobs and all the ones I just mentioned, including Kansas City, which is also open. I would guess that Kansas City is still a top 3 option even if you don't get to call plays. Because if you want to be a head coach again, and Mike McDaniel surely does, if you pop in, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but what I'm saying the narrative will be is, you pop into Kansas City, Chiefs offense goes back to the 4th best. Not an unreasonable thing. Harder now, depending on their wide receiver situation. But Kansas City pops back up and is the 4th best offense. People are going to laud McDaniel for helping fix it. And immediately he's going to be one of the hottest head coaching candidate names in a year. My question is that what Kansas City wants? Do they want a stopgap OC for the remaining years of Andy Reid, knowing that whoever you bring in, if it's a guy that's already established and has a good line to being a head coach, that they're going to be gone real fast if it works the way you hope it works versus, like Andy just going status quo and bringing back Bieniemy or Kafka, which will be not impossible for them to get jobs, but way harder for them to get jobs than a guy like Mike McDaniel.
I hear you on and I already know from a fan base reaction, if the Chiefs offense, I don't care who the OC is next year, if Cody was the OC next year and the offense was just better,
they give me all the credit.
People would think Cody's a genius. So it does. So I agree. No matter who the OC is, everybody's going to think the OC was the magic fix, and that's just the reality of how this works. I hope that's the case because that means the offense got better. Yeah. But people are going to give the new OC way too much credit for whatever changes. I just think that's the reality. But if I'm Mike McDaniel or whoever else you think is just an OC candidate with aspiration to be a head coach again, and I'm sure Mike McDaniel does, and wants to call plays or not call plays, would you rather be the OC, let's just say in Tennessee with Cam Ward in year 2, calling plays, or 1 or 2 years in Kansas City not calling plays with Patrick Mahomes? From a career perspective, not from a who's going to win more games. But what you're talking about, like the shine, if Mike McDaniel got Cam Ward to look good and be a top-end quarterback, then there's not even any question about the offense. Like, he is a genius. And
I just feel like that's a much harder thing to actually accomplish.
But it doesn't take – he doesn't have to turn him into an MVP candidate, though. You know what I mean? Like, if Cam Ward just is decent,
If I were
people are
Mike,
going to say they fully know that it's his entire offense.
the thing is, if I were Mike McDaniel, even though I think Dan Quinn's an idiot, the job I'd probably take is Washington. They want to be a run-first offense. I come from the Kyle Shanahan run scheme system. Yeah, that could work. I would take the job with the best quarterback. I wouldn't take Seattle because if Sam Darnold takes a half step back, now I'm an idiot. I wouldn't take Atlanta. Seems too risky of an OC job. There's just some jobs I wouldn't take because it wouldn't seem. Now, you could take the Lions one, and if they get back up and running to where they were because all the weapons are so good, that's a good one. That's a job probably better than Kansas City because Campbell will let you call plays. But there aren't that many, I'm saying, that are better than the situation he's in from that. Because while he might get to call plays, the odds that he's going to make those guys look as good as he quickly can make the Chiefs offense look good, even though we know that he's not solely credit, just like the way the outside looks.
McDaniel, Cliff, Shieldhouse out with the Rams. All three of those guys as the OC for the Chiefs. Sign me.
Coordinator. Three guys.
Sign me up. I just do those three have interest. I think Shieldhouse would be more likely just because he's already not been a head coach and already hasn't been calling plays necessarily. Like Sean McVay, of course, is the guy still calling plays out there with the Rams. All right, up next, let's talk to former Chiefs wide receiver Danan Hughes. We'll put a bow on this season. We'll ask him about the wide receivers moving forward and what he's looking for in an OC.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Don't let winter catch you off guard. Keep your family cozy with a $69 heating system tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. We have pros available 7 days a week to keep your system running at peak efficiency, helping prevent costly breakdowns, lower energy bills, and keep your home warm all winter long. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
License number 2025-11121.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ETHOS.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Hola, amigos! It's a big noise. Brad Evans from BetMGM tonight. Listen Monday through Friday starting at 6 p.m. Eastern on Westwood One Sports as we cover the biggest sports stories from coast to coast. Get insights on the NFL playoffs, college basketball conference races, and more. Download the Odyssey app now and listen from anywhere. BetMGM tonight, live and interactive, presented by BetMGM. Tune in, Team Huevos.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Did you know that you can watch all your favorite shows right on YouTube? We're live streaming Fesco and Dusty, Cody and Gold, The Drive, and After Hours all day long. So if you want to look at the beautiful Alex Gold, interact with Cody Tapp in the chat, or gaze at the ruggedly handsome Dusty Likens, just go to YouTube and watch them while you pretend to work. Go to our channel, hit subscribe, and stay up to date with 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll talk about Missouri Hoops last night, who now are 2-0 to start SEC play. Big win in Lexington. How about that to start things off? A win against the defending champs in Florida. And then you go on the road. I know Kentucky is not looking like the same old Kentucky team this year, but you go to Lexington and get a win at Rupp. And the final 4 minutes, your coach outcoaches their coach clearly throughout the end of that game. Big time win for the Tigers. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But let's get back into the Chiefs. Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. Of course, you guys hear him throughout the season on the Chiefs radio network and during the NFL season on Players Only here on 96.5 The Fan. He's brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue, and brought to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Danan, we were, of course, talking about the offensive coordinator opening that the Chiefs currently have with Matt Nagy's contract expiring, and every day, seemingly, there's a new name that becomes a possibility. It's Cliff Kingsbury getting let go by the Commanders. Today, it's Mike McDaniel getting fired by the Dolphins. What do you think they need in an OC, knowing that their head coach is likely still to keep the play calling?
Yeah, that's a tough dynamic when you have a coach, a head coach with the resume of Andy Reid. I mean, how much would he be willing to hand over to an incoming new OC? And sometimes the successes that you experience kind of make you a little bit jaded towards being open to new ideas and new people. So, and I think that's human nature, guys. It's not a knock towards Andy Reid,
sure,
but when you've had the successes of 7 straight AFC championships appearances and 5 Super Bowls and 3 Super Bowl wins, like, let's think from a human perspective. If you guys and your radio show was number 1 in the country 5 of the last 7 years, like, how much input would you take from Spec or somebody else as far as somebody new coming in? It just
very little,
happen.
Danan. That's the truth. Very
Exactly.
little.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, this is not, like, something that's abnormal. But I feel like if you are going to say that Patrick Mahomes is going to begin and end his career in Kansas City, then he has to be a part of the decision-making in regards to the offensive coordinator, as well as being involved in the wide receiver coach with Connor Embry being fired. So I think it's got to be an all-encompassed, collective kind of dynamic when you bring Brett Veach in and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, because from a running back standpoint, from a wide receiver standpoint, from a continuity offensively, if you listen to the broadcast, now pregame shows, and me on Players Only, which the last show will be tonight, you will hear me have some critique about wide receivers that were not successful outside the numbers. And I think that's got to be at the front of the new OC and the new wide receivers' minds, in conjunction with Patrick Mahomes. Hey, how do we get wins outside the numbers? Because every other team knows how to do it, and we haven't been successful in that. And then how do we get the running game going? Because as much as we would like, and I've listened to you guys' show, I listened to Dusty and Fesco all week, as much as we would like to say improvement in the running game, and I'm not saying that that's not the case, that it's not necessary, we also have to factor the simple thing that I've said for the last 5 years on the broadcast. Every time Patrick Mahomes hands the ball off, the best player in the league does not have the ball. So as an OC and a head coach, you have to decide how often you want that dynamic to happen. And that's a tough situation to have to deal with when you have the best quarterback in the league, especially when he's healthy. So I think everybody just needs to be on the same accord and make sure that they go into 2026 with the same like-minded approach. Hey, we are all in this together. We're going to fix it however way we can fix it. But those are specific areas I think they need to be addressed.
Danan, to your point on the you wouldn't change much, Alex and I have made a big point about that. It's like up to this season, why would you think some part of your process wasn't working when you had attended 5 of 7 Super Bowls and obviously went to 3 in a row, even if you didn't win all of those? But it's like the wake-up call nature of it. Andy doesn't make big moves like moving on from offensive coordinators unless he thinks big things got in the way of what happened. And so do you think there's any other big move on the horizon? Do you think, because I think moving on from Dave Toub is, even though it's a special teams coordinator, they're boys. I think if something like that happened, that would suggest that Andy realized that there were major issues this previous season.
Yeah, I don't anticipate that. I think Dave Toub is still one of the top special teams coaches in the NFL. He's the assistant head coach for a reason, which tells you a lot about their relationship. And I'm a former player, so I'm always going to lean towards, when it's all said and done, the player has to do their job. So during the season, we were critiquing Harrison Butker. We can't blame Dave Toub for that. He's the only kicker on the roster. He has to go out there and do his job. The onus is on the player. Now, you may want to say, okay, some of the holding penalties, how do you get away with that? But holding is up all around the league. Every single game we watch on kickoff coverage and kickoff return, you see multiple holding penalties. It's based on the dynamic kickoff rule that I just don't think players have been as good at addressing and adjusting to as they were in previous times. So, I like Dave Toub. I like his approach. I think he's had success in this league. There's just a component that players have to get better, and I think we have a good core of young talent with Jeffrey Bossa, Cooper McDonald, Kevin Knowles, Noel Williams, that I think can stabilize the special teams unit, where I don't think it should cost him his job.
We're talking to Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver here on 96.5 The Fan. We don't know how anything's going to play out with the allegations, I understand, that are out there with Rashee Rice. But how do you feel about the wide receiver offseason plan? Assuming he is still available, and if he were not to be available, does that mean at number 9 it's almost has to be a wide receiver in your opinion?
Man, I don't know if number 9 has to be a wide receiver, because I'm still leaning towards defensive line. I need a game changer at the defensive line position, and if Chris Jones is going to be a guy that's going to tutor that guy and help bring him along, I mean, when you see the effects of guys like Jalen Carter, when they go and get 2 defensive linemen from Georgia and thrust them right into a lineup, how that automatically changes the whole dynamic of a defense. And if you're still kind of questioning what you're going to do with Trent McDuffie, you can't have questions in the back end of a defense as well as questions that consistently showed themselves this year on the front end. The front 4 have to figure out a way to get home. We cannot be just a blitzing team and lean on our defensive backs to make magical plays when the quarterback has extended amount of time. That, to me, as the number one issue with this Chiefs team was the defensive front and their inability to get home, to disrupt passing games, and get out of third down situations. You look at this defense, they were 29th in the NFL in third down production. You can't, I don't care what's happening on the offensive side, special team side, 3rd and 17, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 18. I'm thinking back to specific situations where we should have gotten off the field and we didn't. And it happened on numerous occasions. And if Chris Jones is going to be around, his production has declined, then we need to have somebody waiting in the bullpen that's going to be able to come in and take in that role. Think about when Chris Jones came into the league. You had, aging Tom Bahali, you had Justin Houston that was around, and you had guys that you could basically hand the baton off to Chris Jones, a young Chris Jones, where he was able to come in hit the ground running and make a name for himself. Maybe this is the time where we have to look at that succession or the succession plan for that defensive line position. Charles Omenihu didn't get it done. George Karlaftis, we signed a long deal for him. He's going to be around, but there needs to be somebody on the interior that's going to be able to pick up some of the slack and maybe reestablish the identity of this defense.
So I'm 1,000% with you on defensive line. Like even 24 hours ago, it was like no question, defensive line. I'm just trying to figure out what the wide receiver room would look like if, and again, we have no idea how this is going to play out with Rashee Rice the rest of this offseason.
Yeah.
But if Travis Kelce were to retire and Rice weren't available, I mean, we're talking about Xavier Worthy and Jalen Royals, basically the only guys under contract and offensive weapons in the pass game.
Yeah, make no mistake. Just because I went on that rant about the defensive line, I'm not saying anything about our wide receivers, and I'm not trying to. Just because I'm a former wide receiver, I'm not in protective mode about wide receivers. Connor Embry, as you guys mentioned, I don't call for people's jobs, but I think you guys were very clear, and so was Fesco and Dusty earlier. The guys that we've had have not developed, and if that just in itself means that you have to move away from the wide receiver coach and get somebody else in, I think that is definitely a key. What we've seen from Xavier Worthy, I don't want to go another year where it seems like he's a one-trick pony, where it's either a deep ball perfectly thrown, where he's either going to make a catch or draw a penalty, or if he's going to be a jet sweep guy or shallow cross guy or crossing route guy. Like, I want to see wide receivers that win on the outside. And I think when you look at the landscape of this season, specifically defenses trying to defend our wide receivers, they didn't really have to worry about outside the number of production. They just had to worry about passing off crossing routes and all the window dressing that the offense presented with our wide receivers and linebackers coming into play with safeties also. So getting a taller, more rangy guy that you can throw up deep balls to, back shoulder throws in the red zone, hitch routes, all the things that we saw from like the CD Lambs and the George Pickens and, the wide receiving crew, the Mims Jr., and from the Denver Broncos. Like, we need to see that become a staple, not just an aspect of our offense, but a staple of our offense. But I agree. Like, if Rashee Rice's issues off the field are all true, then he's not with the team next year. Like, I get it. This second chance, this would be a second chance. This would be the most egregious second chance that he would have failed at in regards to domestic violence. And you have to move along from that. And going from a draft of Xavier Worthy in the first round, Rashee Rice in the second round, Sky Moore in the third round, and none of those guys becoming your number one bona fide threat, I don't know if you go back to the draft for the first or second round. You definitely go back to the draft again, but maybe the second round or third round, and you got to go get an established vet because you need that immediate impact. It can't be a growth process with another young talent.
Danan, who do you like in the playoffs coming up on Saturday? Now I'm kind of curious where you stand on the AFC and NFC side. We did our root against and root for index, like the people you would most likely cheer for and the teams you'd cheer against. Alex was against the Bills, Eagles, and Broncos. Broncos number one in his. And then I also had the Patriots. I don't want to see them win anymore. Was on my side as well. Who are you who do you actually think wins, I guess, on the NFC and AFC side?
So I think because of the history of the Chiefs, PR, coaching, and front office tree going to Chicago and having some friends up in Chicago and it being such a long drought for them, I think from a NFC perspective, I'm leaning on the Bears. I think from the AFC, that's tough because there was a part of me that was like, okay, if it's not the Chiefs, I guess the Bills. And I say that so begrudgingly. I say that like from the pit of my stomach, like I guess. But then as we move more towards this weekend, I'm like, screw the Bills. Like, I don't want them to win. Like,
Right.
So I'm having this tug of war going on in my head from an AFC perspective, and I feel like I'm leaning more towards the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just feel like they've done it the right way. They beat us the right way. They have shown themselves to be the up-and-coming, and Trevor Lawrence has really done a fine job becoming MVP candidate when there was so much on his shoulders and so much critique leading up into this season. Like, somebody new like that, I feel like that would be the warm, fuzzy story, and I can go along with that if I had to.
Do you like, I guess, you know what? I will take a Bears-Jags Super Bowl. That feels very, not pressure-packed.
Harmless? Is that what you're
Harmless.
saying?
Yeah.
Harmless
Harmless
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If we're not in it, if the number one team in the world is not in it, in the Kansas City Chiefs, then having those two in it, like, that would be kind of apropos for the year. That would like put a full exclamation point on the 2025 season.
Look, I don't think Sean McDermott is terrible, but I also want him to win one game so he doesn't get fired. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want him to lose Saturday or whenever they're playing and get fired potentially, because there's a lot of speculation about that, and then they go and get a new head coach. And I kind of like what I've seen with the limitations with Sean McDermott.
When I tell you that there's this strange kind of split in my brain right now where part of me kind of wants to go along with you, but the other part of me is like, screw the Bills. Like, I don't care about them. Like, they can spiral downward, and I could care less. We have to go there in their new stadium next year already, so we already know that. Western New York, I have no affinity for. I get it.
That's right. You're a Jersey guy.
Yeah, I get your points, but at the same time, I'm like, nah.
Danan, Cody forgot to tell you that of the three teams he's rooting against, the Broncos were not in there. So
they were fourth.
Gold and I think that that Cody might be a closet Broncos fan.
It's not true.
Oh, no, we can't have that.
Danan, it's not true.
It's disgusting is what it is.
We cannot have anybody in the Chiefs Kingdom even formulating their hands together to clap for the Denver Broncos in this playoff.
Chiefs are out of the playoffs, and now salacious rumors are being started.
You said you have family ties to Denver,
started.
man. You said you had family ties to Denver.
It's true.
That's not acceptable. Anyway, Danan, tonight, 6 o'clock, final players only, right?
Yes, sir. Final players only. We'll put a bow on the season, talk about these coaching situations. I got some really cool audio from Andy Reid in the post-game interview that I had after the Raiders that I think is more than football, that I'll air, as well as Harrison Butker post-game interviews, and then we'll take some calls. So we'll have a fun time as we possibly can to end this season. How about that?
There we go. We'll be listening. Thanks, Danan.
All right.
There you go. That's Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver, part of the Chiefs Radio Network. He's brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue, and brought to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll talk more on the stadium front. There were some interesting comments from one of the Clay County commissioners about the Royals and negotiations, and where does it leave the Royals in this entire thing, and who's somewhat to blame at this point in time. We'll get to that in 10 minutes. But I mentioned, the Missouri Tigers are 2-0 in SEC play, and they get a win last night for the first time in program history at Rupp Arena, one of course the most historic, one of the most
and
historic
had to do
venues.
it come from behind fashion. They had a 15-2 run there late,
and they outcoach. Like, Dennis Gates gets a ton of credit for last night's win. They've opened up with a win against Florida, who won the national title a year ago. Now at Kentucky, and admittedly, I think the non-conference play, their schedule was pretty weak. To be fair, if you go look at even people that look at some of the deeper metrics of scheduling, everybody kind of agrees it was a very soft non-con. So you're kind of unknown heading.
That's
into
why their KenPom and their net ratings and the things that the committee takes.
So unknown, heading into conference play. And what have they done? They started 2-0 and
beat defending national
last
champion.
night was like, look, the players of course made plays down the stretch, but last night Dennis Gates, like, if you were questioning, wavering, I guess at all about where he is at. The final 4 to 5 minutes or so, he out-coached Mark Pope. And I know this is not the same Kentucky team. They're like 9-5, so they're not a great Kentucky team. But still, the talent level that Kentucky has is still legit.
And still winning in Rupp is a difficult thing to do.
For sure. That was a really impressive win. And now I think it has to change how we think about Missouri moving forward for their chances around the tournament.
That's kind of where I am. Like, that was enough of an eye-opening win for me that I'm going to shift my expectations for Missouri, which was French tournament team. That was my expectation going into the year. I thought Kansas State a little bit even further below that. And I thought Kansas, because they had a number one player, should have been considered back in that top 3 seed category. Now, maybe Kansas is alternate a little. Don't know. But Missouri has certainly changed from fringe to at least where they were last year. Because to open up conference play with a win against the defending national champion, even if it's in your home building, and a decided win that was close but got the win against a ranked Florida team, and to go to Rupp, get behind, come from behind, and then use your best players like Mitchell to make that happen, yeah, I kind of feel a little bit better about Missouri's spot in the college basketball landscape right now because all the advanced stuff, like you said, because of that, didn't like him. Net, Ken Palm, all that stuff got him in like the 50s. They got Kansas just for reference in like the teens. And so it seemed to me that people were looking at Kansas and said, that's a paper tiger. Because they had one of the softest non-cons imaginable. They had to play a couple difficult teams and started losing. We're like, how's it going to go in the SEC? And I guess I just kind of thought it'd go poorly. And to start, it's been a battle, right? But those are two teams and two games you can easily lose.
And now it eases up a bit. You get Ole Miss on Saturday, and then Auburn, LSU before you take on a top 25 team again in Georgia. So
that was exactly
an opportunity. They could start 4 or 5-0.
Like with what you guys said, that because they had the softer non-con, like those games against, like you have to win those if you're Missouri just to try to improve that resume. Because down the line we might be looking in March and say, well, Missouri, they're on the bubble, but maybe they're on the better side of the bubble because of the way that they played in conference.
Because they beat Florida, because they won at Kentucky.
Yeah,
it's true. Like for a team that's fringe, and like I don't know, I'm actually now starting to think Missouri won't have to sit around on Selection Sunday and wonder whether or not they're going to end up being the 12 seed. These 2 wins actually makes me think, Drew, they're going to settle themselves into that like 6, 7, 8 line, and like
6-7.
Yeah. That's not on purpose, and you don't have to do that. You don't have kids. You don't have to live that life.
I'm trying to bring it up as much as possible so it just stops being a thing.
Like we'll make it not cool.
Yeah, that's my goal.
It's not working with my kids so far. But at least when you start looking at it, I actually feel more like, Drew, they won't need to live that life. I thought they were going to have to live that life.
Because of the non-con stuff, yeah.
No, the way they've started in the SEC makes me feel like I've undervalued their potential as a team.
As long as they, like, the way they're playing right now, that one is a team that clearly has gotten better in the last 3 or 4 games, number one. But also, as long as they don't slip up here, as I mentioned, the schedule eases up. If they can get to that 4-0 mark or so to start SEC play, then you're not worried about, Missouri just slipping up and all of a sudden erasing some of the good things that just happened to them. Because prior to last night, and it's way too early to do deep dive bracketologies, but if you were wondering, they were not in Lenardi's field, my understanding, heading into last night. So that, to your point, Drew, about just where they need to be.
They were fringe, yeah.
So, how do you get there? If all of a sudden they're 4-0 to start SEC play, they will not be on the bubble anymore. There's way too many games for us to know where any of these teams are going to be seated.
Now the conference play just started, yeah.
Yeah, but boy, oh boy, 2 of the most impressive wins you could probably have in conference play to open up. I mean, I'm not saying that
never even won at Rupp ever.
I know Kentucky's not ranked, but still, when you look at just the venue and the tradition and how you would have perceived the beginning of conference play to start, I bet you there were Missouri fans that thought they were going to start 0-2. You had Florida and Kentucky out of the gate. And here they are, they're 2-0. So really impressive stuff from the Missouri Tigers. Kansas State, meanwhile, the result was as we expected on the road against the number 1 team in the country. They got boat raced by Arizona pretty badly last night with 20-plus points, 25 points, something like that.
Arizona team's pretty good.
All right, up next, let's transition to the stadium discussion a little bit. There was an update up in Clay County. We know one of the potential sites. Is it still? Because one of the Clay County commissioners seemed to go ahead and douse those flames a little bit with water. So we'll see where we're at next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on the gridiron action because you can make entries and win money right now in Missouri. It's super easy. Just download the app, choose your favorite players, and go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. And so you can make those selections over at Underdog. And because it's Wild Card Weekend, Underdog's adding a gimme pick on a quarterback of your choice from any of the wild card games just to get you started. Playing on Underdog, like I said, is easy. You can win up to 5,000 times your money. Why not? And figure out all the different ways to play, from pick'ems and champions and so many different other methods. Those selections are easy to make over on their app. Download the app today. Use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/playing good terms. _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you feel embarrassed, trapped, maybe even ashamed just because you own a timeshare? Well, I'm here to tell you you're not alone. Chuck McDowell here, the timeshare cancellation guy. I get over 3,000 complaints a week from all kinds of folks that feel the same way you do. Honest people, teachers, veterans, grandparents, all losing sleep over a timeshare they can't get rid of. That's why 15 years ago, I founded Wesley Financial Group to help people take their lives back. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we would want our own family to be treated. That mindset has helped us cancel over 50,000 timeshares from people just like you. So if you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-261-3377. 800-261-3377. 800-261-3377.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexspyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Spies KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Hey Royals fans, it's Vern. I'll be broadcasting live from Royals Rally on Saturday, January 31st, starting at 9 a.m. as I sit down with the biggest names in the organization before they head off to spring training. This is your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM. HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey Sports Station.
11 o'clock hour here. It's Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. During the Chiefs Red Half Hour, we will get back into the very serious allegations from the ex-girlfriend of Rashee Rice. We'll do that in just a bit. I will pass along, I believe Pete Sweeney and others just tweeted this out. The NFL put out a statement. This is from NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy about the allegation, saying, quote, We have been in contact with the club about the matter, which will be reviewed under the league's personal conduct policy. Again, pretty standard statement, but just so you guys know, the Chiefs, of course, put out their statement last night mentioning that they had been in contact with the NFL, that they have no further comment. Basically they're investigating, if you will, at this point in time. We'll get back into the details around the allegations and also the reality on the football side of it as well. Obviously, the very serious nature of the personal side of it. But the football side, if in fact it could cause him to not play for the Chiefs in 2026, what does that do for your entire offseason if you're Brett Veach, if you're the Chiefs? So we'll do that again if you're just tuning in. Certainly something we will get into here in a bit. But I want to talk a little bit on the stadium front to start the hour, Cody, because we all know where things are at right now on the Missouri side. While maybe there's an increased effort to try to get the Royals after the Chiefs left for Kansas and what has to take place. There's a lot of speculation about whether or not a public vote would be required or not required. Well, then last night, Jason Withington, who is a county commissioner in Clay County. In fact, we've had Jason on the show a few times over the last few years discussing it. He is the Western Commissioner, and he is one of 7 on the Clay County Commission. So I want to point this out. He is one of 7 people. He is not. It's not like when we've talked about I think Jackson County, where it's like there is just one executive and kind of he is part of the Clay County Commission. All right, and he's not the presiding commissioner. That's Jerry Nolte. But anyway, Jason Withington on his Facebook page put this out. I'm not going to read the full post because it started with talking about how he loves baseball. Right, the smell, the sounds, the roar of the crowd. I think is how he started it. But as it pertains to the stadium, over the last few years, the joy has been drained out of it for me. I absolutely loathe the business of baseball. And since I'm always talking about being real, let me be 100. That's how he phrased it.
That's the way you...
I'm trying to read. I'm trying to read the statement.
Let me be 100. Just say it naturally. You said it's so funny.
Like, how else am I supposed to read it?
I don't know.
It's weird when there's an emoji in the middle of the statement. Anyway, shout out to Jason. Anyway,
I was trying to keep it 100.
I'm reading the statement, man. Like Kansas, I'm done negotiating with the Kansas City Royals. Last year, we were told the team wanted to be on the November 2025 ballot. We worked in good faith all summer to make that happen. As the August deadline approached, we were then told they wanted to move to the April 2026 ballot at the earliest. Tomorrow was the deadline, as in now today. This was posted last night. So today was the deadline. We gave the team to meet that timeline. They've now told us they aren't ready for that either. At some point, you stop negotiating and start being honest about what's actually happening. For me, the Royal situation in Clay County is now a closed chapter. It's time for the commission to focus fully on priorities we control, either upgrading our existing county jail or building a new one. Again, that's from Jason Withington, who is one of the county commissioners.
One of 7.
In Clay County, yes.
And I think that that's important to note. The one of 7 part is where the way I read that, and I'm curious to see if other people hear it the same, is he's tired of it and doesn't want to do it anymore and is encouraging the commission to focus on other things for Clay County to put their business on. But he also said, but there are 6 other people
how do they feel?
who probably don't want to close that chapter, or at least some don't want to close that chapter. And what he said in there is also a bit telling in the sense that he said, they said they'd want to be on the April ballot at the earliest, implying that even they were saying the April ballot might be too early for us if Clay County ends up being our home. Mm-hmm. And so, look, the truth is, and it's always been true about Clay County, and I live there. It's so like, if you're in Clay County and you take offense, I guess just know that I live in Clay County. It is not their first choice. It has not been their first choice for some time. Hell, I'm not even sure it was their second choice. That might have been 119th in all, and with their first choice always being downtown baseball. I think right now what you should be thinking about the Royal Stadium thing is a percentage chance of where they go up and where they end up as a result of this. And because of Kansas also saying we're not interested, one county commissioner saying we should move on and not be interested is Clay County, even though he's kind of speaking for the group, but not speaking for the group because he's not saying that everyone also believes that with him, is that, as I put it right now, if I made you break it down in 100% percentage, I would say it's like 60% downtown, 20% that it's in Kansas somewhere, and 20% it ends in Clay County. If you made me break it down, that's still how I feel. That the most likely scenario is Kansas City proper, that Kansas should not be considered off the table, despite the fact they said they're not interested anymore, and that Clay County should not be considered off the table, even though one county commissioner said they're not interested.
Yeah, it reads like, again, the Royals are clearly the holdup here. They cannot, John Sherman cannot make up his mind on what he wants to actually do.
He's part of the problem here at this point. I mean, it's hard to imagine that we can't blame him a little now.
No, I mean, when you have now one county in Missouri, and you now have the Speaker of the House on the Kansas side saying that they're done, and we all thought they were very close to a deal with Kansas, and then now here we are a week into the new year, and both parties involved, Clay County and now the state of Kansas, are saying that, like, yeah, we're done. You kind of had your chance. Whether or not that ends up being true or not, we'll find out. But that they are saying that publicly, and that the Royals were not ready for potentially a vote in April in Clay County, and seemingly trying to, still keep the bidding war open and playing the game a little bit with everybody. At some point, people are like, yeah, we're done with that. Make a decision. And now the door may have closed on at least one, if not both options. I'm not convinced, as you kind of said, that it's 100% done that they couldn't still go to Kansas. I know other people are. I still think there's still a possibility there. And I still think there's a possibility, of course, they go downtown. Where are they going to end up? But do the Royals know what they actually want? We know 3+ years ago, maybe 5 at this point, but 3+ years ago, they wanted downtown baseball.
Yeah.
But yes, we also know they wanted to have the entertainment district associated with that because of the revenue opportunities. I don't know how many times everybody's brought up what they liked about Atlanta and the district around there, the Battery and everything. And we know that downtown, the East Village site could have allowed them to do that. We know that this Washington Square Park site likely doesn't allow them to do that. And we know that the 119th and Null site does allow them to do that. So, but what do you want?
But it's already kind of pre-built. They'll just have to build.
Well, no, there's land-wise, there's a huge chunk of land compared to downtown.
Yes.
Unless you choose the East Village site.
And so,
which we know that got switched at the last minute.
Which Mayor Q was like, we'll go back there. You want to know what I actually think? Look, this is pure speculation, admittedly. So someone in the Royals front office is probably just shaking their head at the notion that I'm even suggesting this. Because the truth is, in the last 7 days, probably, since the Chiefs announced that they were going to Kansas, or it's obviously been longer than that, but let's just say the last week.
Yeah.
In the last week, I've heard people speculate the Royals at 4 different sites, maybe 5. I mean, I'm not kidding. Every single site imaginable. They must have a better idea. What I think happened here is, like the Chiefs, the Royals were pitting a few ideas against each other, looking for what might have been the best deal and not what their original dream scenario is. They let their original dream location die when the vote died. And so what they started doing was, what's the best deal at the best price? So if we go to 119th, what are they offering? Does that get us close enough? They're looking for the closest thing to 100%. And so they were negotiating with multiple parties on multiple fronts, looking for that one's at 72% and this one's at 77%. And they were trying to close every little chapter. Let's buy up every little piece of land. What would it look like if we bought out the J? And they were trying to cross every dot and squeeze out that extra last percentage. And as a result of that, some of these people have been frustrated. And in the end, they should have just taken a deal on the table, if there was one on the table, and they've drawn this out too long. I do blame Sherman for part of this at this point. I'm sorry, you had your job as
haven't made up their mind.
To get the stadium deal done, and it doesn't seem like you've made up your mind, and you've now had 3 years. You took over the team 5 years ago when you said, I'm moving the team downtown. You've had a lot of time to sort this out. And now it's 2026. It is 2 years past a vote that took place, and you're not even telling us where you're trying to go. So, it's difficult to not put some of that on the onus of the ownership group and their negotiation skills in this department. But I don't rule out Clay County. I don't rule out Kansas, and I don't rule out downtown.
I think all three are still alive. I'm kind of with you there, but it's just, we said this 6 months ago, but the longer it draws out, the reality of other situations come to be. Somebody, if none of these areas are willing to come up with a deal, or I should say a deal that the Royals like, how about that, then where does that leave everything? We know they have a stadium lease that expires at the Truman Sports Complex. We know they have publicly said over and over, no matter what, they are not staying at the K beyond that lease.
Well, they're running out of time to build it.
That's what I'm saying. It's January of 2026.
Does this change our guess? Because I think Was it you and I, Gold, that said pre-June?
Oh, win a site.
I don't know if that changes.
One county commissioner statement shouldn't really change.
He's one of, and we've had Jason on the show. This is nothing against him at all, but
he's a Griffin. He went to win a Tonka.
He knows you. We've talked about you when you were not on. When he came on the show and you weren't there, he mentioned you, and we talked about you on the air. And I asked for Schoop.
What did he say?
I don't remember. He didn't. I don't know if he had much for us. But point being, so this is. But you're right. He's one of 6 on the Clay County Commission, and I agree with you that I don't think Clay County was the first or second choice for the Royals anyway. But you've got, in the span of a week, the Speaker of the Kansas House and someone on the Clay County Commission saying, we are done. That's a problem. That is a problem for the Royals.
In any other lifestyle, that's an embarrassing thing to happen. If 2 women went on the news today and said, we're no longer interested in dating Alex, you'd be like, well, what the hell? You don't have to say it. Like, it's a bit, like, from the Royals' perspective, that would be a bit disheartening for me. Unless I knew I was getting ready to, like, ink a deal with Jackson County and it was all set in stone. To have people be like one at a time. And look, again, the guy in Kansas obviously also doesn't speak for everybody in Kansas, Gold, right? He doesn't say, like, that's one person amongst many people who are the decision makers on that department, same as the county commissioner, saying there's individuals moving on. And look, at least in Withington's case, I would say his statement sounds like he's over it. He's tired of negotiations and how these work in the baseball team, and he doesn't want to deal with it anymore, and he thinks the commission should spend their time on other things. But again, that doesn't mean that the other 6 people think it's not worthy of continuing to spend their time. I still hope for downtown baseball, for what it's worth. I still think the East Village site is the best one, Gold. You do too. If it's not downtown, I'd like Clay County, and I would like the 119th and Null site the least. The end. But I don't know, man. It's still, every day we talk about the Royal Stadium, it doesn't actually feel like they're any closer to making it happen, which is a very confusing thing to me.
Coming up in 8 minutes, we'll get to the trash of the day. We alluded to this a little bit with Danan Hughes, talking about the offensive coordinator opening and the wide receiver room. Nate Taylor also was discussing this decision last night. That is that Connor Embry has been let go by the Kansas City Chiefs. And this is a name that has been brought up for the last year plus, going back to even last year, with where they're at with the wide receiver room. And this isn't, frankly, to me, an easy decision to make. You're already going to get a new OC. That new OC is probably going to want his own wide receivers coach. And the results, clearly, have not been there from your wide receiver on the development end. Nate Taylor this morning, even with Bob and Dusty, said that he had heard that wide receivers and receivers in the organization, in that wide receiver room, were not happy with Connor Embry, and that some of the veterans were perhaps helping coach up some of these guys more than the coaching staff, or at least crazy. Connor Embry. Again, I'm just telling you what Nate said. By the way, I would not be shocked to hear that, and I'm not shocked to hear that, based off of the lack of development from the wide receivers.
I mean, I didn't pay that much attention to it because I was like, what, we're going to make the wide receiver coach the scapegoat? And he's not the only guy who gone. They got rid of Whittingham, the assistant defensive line coach, and the defensive
Whittingham, in fairness to him, he's going with his dad to coach at Michigan.
Yeah,
like, that's his dad.
He's gone, and then they got rid of a defensive quality control coach or whatever. Yeah. But if you go back through and you look at Connor Embry's resume, I went back and looked it up on Wikipedia. Was he qualified for this job? Like, how did he end up in it? He was a graduate assistant for Kansas for a year. He then was the wide receivers coach for one single season at Fairview High School in 2017. He was a defensive assistant. That is a pretty low-level job on an NFL staff. He must have, I'm guessing he had a friend or something, or knew somebody. That's normally how these work. For 1 year, he spent 1 year as an offensive quality control coach for the Chiefs, and then became the wide receivers coach. Truth is, 3 years ago, he coached wide receivers in high school once, or 5 years ago, and then spent 1 off years doing some stuff, and then has been the wide receivers coach for 3 years here. He was not qualified for the job when he got it. He got it. No wide receiver improved under his watch, and, like Danan said, I don't root for people to lose their job, but I'm not going to lie.
It was an easy decision.
It was an easy decision, and one that probably should have been made at some point during the regular season, if we're being honest. And he doesn't typically do that. But there's a lot of truth in that, just because everybody knew that there was a problem with it. And it's not going back to last year when he stumbled in a press conference interview. Yeah. Everybody doesn't have to be good in front of a microphone in order to think that's, but no single wide receiver got better under his watch, and many got worse.
I agree. And then Todd Pinkston, who we all know was a successful NFL wide receiver, is coaching running backs. Why? That makes no sense either. So there's some reshuffling of the deck that absolutely should happen, and it started. And when you have a new OC, that's going to take care of a lot of the position coaches on offense. He's that guy, whoever it ends up being, will likely have his own people that he brings. And I would be surprised how many holdovers from the positional offensive staff there are. Maybe Andy Heck. I don't know. That's ultimately Andy Reid is who makes a lot of those decisions. But if you go and I don't care if it's Cliff Kingsbury or if it's Mike Kafka or whoever, that guy's going to want to bring in some of his people to be position coaches.
And that's honestly, that's good.
Yeah.
Because maybe you can get younger at that position, but younger in a better sense. Because Connor Embry was young. The issue was not that. And look, I'm not going to try to pretend like 90 yards or whatever Sky Moore's got in a San Francisco uniform makes him a better wide receiver. But they've gotten value out of him. He's played 17 games for him this year. He has 87 yards. But you know what he actually is? A quality return man. You know what Kansas City could have used this year? Quality ability in the return game. He's still not a good wide receiver, okay? He has 87 yards.
I also just think...
But it's like, nobody got better under Connor Embry.
Totally. I would say the Sky Moore part, I would just say Sky Moore needed a new change of scenery as well. And good for him that he's having success as a returner in San Francisco. I think that one, I don't blame that one on Tobe as much as, trust me, I think they should move on from Dave Tobe. I don't think that in the span of 3 weeks, Sky Moore just became a better returner because of amazing coaching from the special teams coordinator in San Francisco. I think he needed mentally to get out of Kansas City where there was no pressure anymore, and he was no longer the top pick for that organization.
Second round pick.
That's just my personal opinion on it. But go ahead, Drew.
I have a really good question. So the text line brought this up. Someone said he was a running back. What details can he teach about wide receiver? I went and looked. He played running back in college. So they had a former running back coaching wide receivers and a former wide receiver coaching running backs.
Yes.
Yep. And at least
Pinkston, does that make any sense?
Dude, Andy one time, and look, this is the outside.
The Royals have a hitting coach that was, or a pitching
coach who was a hitting,
or a hitting coach that was a pitcher. Never hit. So it happens.
It definitely happens way more than you realize, probably. But Andy one time took a former offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator and made him the opposite. So, in my mind, it's like those aren't the same jobs. I feel like you almost need to specialize as big as the job is now. Look, I look at his resume and I'm like, I'm actually kind of surprised Connor Embry got the job at all. He sat here for a year as the offensive quality control coach. Looks like he got on the staff just based on a favor, right? I don't know that. I don't know that for sure, but just knowing the resume. He was coaching wide receivers in high school and all of a sudden he gets to be a defensive coach for the Chiefs? I feel like you got to know somebody to make that kind of leap.
Isn't that kind of this? I mean, that is.
Oh, that's
how that stuff works, though.
But he got the wide receiver coach in a hurry and got to keep the job for 3 years. Again, nobody got better, so you get fired. That's the way the life works. If this show, people stop listening to it, Alex and I won't keep doing it anymore. That's just the reality of it. So please listen to it. I'd like to keep doing this job. I don't want to become an offensive quality control coach for the Chiefs.
I just wonder if the hitting thing's different with Zumal because, since he was a pitcher, there's tells that he can give two hitters where maybe there's more parallels that cross, where I directly played the position I can in terms of technique. And
you're almost saying a former running back in college would be better to coach linebackers or something because it's hey, I know what you're seeing from the other side.
I don't know.
I don't really care. I
Some
just
of
think
this
they need
is
to change it
also
on the staff.
It comes across as weird, I guess, in a way.
I would say, I don't disagree. I think it's weirder when the results aren't there. Does that make sense? If everything was great, nobody would give a damn. If Todd Pinkston was coaching running backs, if the running backs were great, nobody would care. That's just the results are the results, and they haven't had them. So it's time for some change. And a wide receiver coach is out. OC is going to be new. We'll see how they pivot moving forward. All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
All right. Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We'll get into some running backs that are free agents, by the way. With the league year still
a lot of
ways
them.
away, but there are some free agent running backs. All right. Trash of the day takes us to New York. A New York advertising executive reached a deal with prosecutors because he was arrested for something he did on a Florida rooftop.
Like a rooftop bar?
Now, I'm a big fan of rooftop bars. I love rooftop bars, especially if you've got a good music scene as well. It's like Nashville on Broadway, full of rooftop bars. Great thing. Some good rooftop bars, obviously, in downtown Kansas City as well. So big fan of those. Now, don't do this, clearly. The deal that he reached was because he was accused of relieving himself at the top of a bar called The Landing in Florida. Different Landing, okay? Don't worry, Maloney. The Landing, a rooftop bar. in Florida while he was drunk. Police say some people on the sidewalk below were hit with the urine.
Oh.
And he was charged with disorderly conduct, released on a $500 bond. As part of the pretrial agreement, he agreed to accept responsibility. He has to complete 50 hours of community service, undergo alcohol counseling, pay fees. He's also banned from bars and clubs for 6 months.
6 months,
All
huh?
the bars and clubs, I guess. I don't know how they really do that.
What, they got like pass around
Yeah,
a sheet of
his
paper?
Pictures
No one's
on the
gonna
front
stop.
door.
Obviously, it's just like you probably have to serve more community service or go to weekend jail or whatever if you actually break that rule, which means don't break the rule. Yeah, this sounds right. Honestly, it sounds like you got it kind of easy. $500 and 50 hours community service. They'll let you do that over like, a stretch of time. So, I mean, feels like he got off relatively easy. I thought you were going to the text line all week. I don't know why, and over on YouTube too. All week has been asking you to do Trash of the Day on the McRib lawsuit. Did you see what was going on there?
No, I thought we already knew that it's not real rib meat. It's called a. Have you seen it? It's clearly not real rib.
No, but they were suing because they said it's. McDonald's called the claims meritless, but I mean, they said there's no ribs, despite it calling. There's no actual pork rib meat, as they say, despite its advertising, is what it is. I would suggest I'm not a drunk let's go pee in an alley person. I just find a bathroom. I just pee before I leave or whatever, like I don't know if you were.
That, I think. Or I try to do that.
You try.
Golf course is probably
I will
about
say
yeah, 100%.
that's the one place, Drew, where
you can get away with it.
I guess I've
there was
you gotta do what you gotta do if you're stuck out on the fourth hole and it's the furthest away from the clubhouse. Yeah.
One of my good friends' bachelor party. This was at this point. I don't know. Maybe it's been 10 years. I don't know. At least 10 years. Let's just say it's been 10 years. Doesn't really matter. Bachelor party. It's like 1 a.m. or whatever. We're walking out of a bar. He needed to go to the bathroom. Why he didn't go to the bathroom in the bar we were just at?
Exactly.
Again, it was a bachelor party. He was clearly drunk. He found like a tree that was on the off the road, but I'll be honest, the tree was right near the road. Like it was not far enough back away. And he went to the bathroom, and a police officer happened to be driving by, pulls over, and he got cited and all that. And in Missouri, he had to pay a lot of money to get through the legal. In Missouri, if you urinate in public,
indecent exposure,
I believe, and so you could get put on the list. So now he did not. He got it cleared up and all that. But this is why, you got to be a little careful.
Yeah,
a little careful.
Go to the bathroom in the bathroom. A crazy wild.
You can't just. Yeah, you can't whip it out in public like that. Yep.
No.
Do not do that.
Yep, that's against the law. That's against the law. 50 hours community service, that guy will have it knocked out in no time. Does he, I gotta say, the $500 fine or $1,000 fine, I'd like that money directly. City doesn't get that. If someone peed on me from the rooftop, I'd like the money from the fine.
Can you have a
I'd
civil...
like some financial restitution, please.
Can you sue him? Can there be a civil suit? Can you claim that you had mental distress and it impacted your life because you got urinated on?
Oh, I imagine you can take him to small claims. You might only get a few $100, but you can get something. Depends on, is that worth it for you? You gonna sue someone over a few $100?
Emotional distress.
The small claims court.
I couldn't go to work the next day. I was so distraught from it. Oh no. I don't know. That is the trash of the day. So isn't this a scene from American Pie too? I think that actually is right. That was Stifler. Wasn't he the one that had that happen too?
I think so. Yeah.
I think that's correct.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
You can't whip it out in public like that. Yeah, you can't. You can't. Life lessons, guys. Yeah.
That's what you come for in the show.
Bink gave us lessons yesterday.
That is 5 inches difference.
Yeah. I mean, got to be careful.
But what I said in there, please keep listening to this show despite this trash of the day.
Let me be 100.
It was the pause, I think, that got you.
I wasn't expecting to read a statement from a politician that had the 100 emoji in it, and so I was very caught off guard.
Grew up in the same era,
Yeah, that's true. That's very
I don't think
true.
I've ever said keep it 100 though. In my whole
I don't say it.
If I say something, I'll
Drew definitely
I'll
has.
say, let me keep it a buck is what
That's
I'll
what
say.
Drew says. That's true.
Keep it a buck.
That's a lot better than let me keep it 100. I think.
I sometimes can't track. So my kid has been into this game called Fall Guys. It's a free game on the Nintendo where you race against other people. But because he likes the game, he watches YouTube Kids. He watches people complete playing these games or speed run. And he'll say stuff sometimes because he obviously watches these 20-year-olds talk about the game. He's like, "Oh, this is a sweaty lobby," and I'm like, "Okay, I can't do this."
That's insane. That is insane. That's insane.
He'll talk like that, and I'm just like,
sweaty lobby.
That means hard, by the way, in case you're curious. That's a difficult one versus these guys are a bunch of noobs. Get into all of these, all this slang vernacular from the gamer kids that he likes watching.
That was the test that you gave us with the terminology that.
But I'm learning new ones. We could do a whole new test a couple weeks from now. Be all kinds of new slang. Maybe you guys didn't know about that. Comes around,
Yeah,
we didn't even cover unk or any kinds of things in there. We could have.
We've
really
talked about that. We've talked about that
yet?
before.
No.
Okay.
No, they have not.
I know you're not unk. You're their dad, but
yes, thank you. That's
chill out, unk. That would be crazy.
That is the trash of the day. Up next, let's get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We'll discuss the free agent crop of running backs, and we'll get back into the serious allegations involving Rashee Rice and what that could mean for the offseason.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Tune in for the Fan Club every Friday at 1, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
FanDuel's giving all customers a profit boost every college football playoff game day. That means more chances to level up your picks and turn big moments into even bigger wins. You can ride with the favorite. You can take a shot on an underdog, maybe Ole Miss tonight, or build a parlay. Then apply your profit boost and go for bigger winnings. FanDuel's the best place to get into the college football action all playoff long. And when you win, you'll get paid instantly. So just visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to get your college football playoff profit boost today. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri to get your college playoff profit boost today. FanDuel's the official sports betting partner of 96.5 The Fan. Must be 21 and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you feel embarrassed, trapped, maybe even ashamed just because you own a timeshare? Well, I'm here to tell you you're not alone. Chuck McDowell here, the timeshare cancellation guy. I get over 3,000 complaints a week from all kinds of folks that feel the same way you do. Honest people, teachers, veterans, grandparents, all losing sleep over a timeshare they can't get rid of. That's why 15 years ago, I founded Wesley Financial Group to help people take their lives back. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we would want our own family to be treated. That mindset has helped us cancel over 50,000 timeshares from people just like you. So if you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-261-3377. 800-261-3377. 800-261-3377.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at TheFan965 for behind-the-scenes videos like MVP Monday, Chiefs Take Tuesday, and Best Bets. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ, FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Chiefs Red Half Hour here on Cody and Gold. You guys can always hit us up on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Video stream up and running, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and X. I had somebody comment on an Instagram post. Cody and I will sometimes post the clips on our personal Instagram and TikTok, etc.
Yeah.
And somebody commented, said, I've never seen you guys on video. This is cool. If you're listening,
we've been doing this for years.
But if you're listening, and especially, if you want, follow us on Instagram if you want as a station, 96.5 The Fan, or Cody, I think is Cody B Tap on Instagram. I'm
the same on all.
Somebody on all the other platforms. I was able to get Alex Gold. Somebody took it on Instagram, so I'm Alex KC Gold on Instagram. Point being, you can follow us there, and we'll post clips. But if you've seen those right now, like Drew's got the video stream up and running, the whole show, just like during Fesco and Dusty and the drive. The entire show is on video. So if you enjoyed that, cool. You can watch the show on there in addition to listening, of course, in your car or the Odyssey app or however you typically consume the show. So just wanted to point that I thought that was interesting. Coming up an hour from now, we'll go to Buffalo, talk a little AFC wildcard. A lot of implications with the Bills game this weekend against Jacksonville. Josh Allen legacy. Could this be it for Sean McDermott if they lose this game? All that we'll get into with Mike Schoop in just a bit. But for the Chiefs, we are talking offseason, and we all, I think, recognize the need for them to be more explosive in the backfield. I think maybe we disagree on the exact path for that, whether it's draft, whether it's free agent, which free agent. But we wanted to take a look at just the crop of potential free agent running backs right now. Just an early look. And the good news for the Chiefs is it's actually a pretty deep group, Cody, of available names. If you want to go the free agent path, I know there's some of you listening that want them to take Jeremiah Love at 9 or take another back in round 2. And I'm certainly not anti-drafting a running back. I am kind of at 9, though. I'll be honest. I am a little bit at 9, but I think you can address running back in free agency. You could have a free agent back, Rashard Smith, and draft a running back this year. And free agency, the top name, Breece Hall. Very interested. Going to be the most expensive, though. He's available. He doesn't turn 25, I think, until the middle of
his expected market value, according to Spa Track, is over $10 million, about $10.5 million.
Yeah. So Breece Hall would be the most expensive. But listen to some of these other names. Travis Etienne, Jacksonville, who's still playing right now. But Travis Etienne, he's projected to maybe be a $6.8 million per year type of back. Javonte Williams having a great year down in Dallas. I'm a little more skeptical on him, I'll be honest, than some of the other names. But he's a potential option. You've got Kenneth Walker. I'd be really intrigued with him. The Seattle running back, he's kind of part of a 1-2 punch there with Zach Charbonnet. J.K. Dobbins was in for a visit a year ago with the Chiefs. They decided to sign Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Whoops. He ends up going to the Chargers and then ended up with the Broncos this year. He did get hurt, though. He's got a long injury history. So when I see the projected value at $9.3 million, that scares me with the injury history. But man, there's still more names to list off. This is a perfect offseason if you're trying to find a free agent running back.
There's any number of either aging veterans in which you're like, hey, let's get Rico Dowdle in here for fit, and let's also draft a guy, and we'll just pair him up. Rashard Smith, Rico Dowdle, and drafted running back and make that fit. Or if you just want to say, nope, we're getting our starting running back, we're not drafting anything, and Breece Hall's coming here for $10.5 million a year. I went through the list quite a bit, and I was trying to think both for value and for what I want them to do in the draft. And because I now think they might need to draft multiple offensive linemen, at least one wide receiver, maybe a tight end. I'm not against them drafting a running back. I kind of don't hate if they can push it off for a couple of years. And so because of that and the price and value, I think based on scheme fit, my guy's Travis Etienne. That is the one that I think he's a pass catching back. They use him on third downs. He can share the job and nobody feels any different about it. And they could still do the we'll give Kareem Hunt a 1-year deal if they want the guy who can run for 1 yard. And for a year, it can be Travis Etienne, Rashard Smith, and Kareem Hunt can be the 4th and 1 guy. And I could just live my life because maybe that's the one area that Etienne doesn't possess out of the guys I just listed, although admittedly, I think that's more of an offensive line thing than a running back thing to get the yard. So, there's part of me that thinks that was Trey and Creed as well. So, if I could have any of the free agent running backs at what I think their projected value will be, Etienne would probably be my choice.
If you think they need multiple, but Rashard Smith and they need multiple options, Tyler Algier is only projected to get $1.8 million.
He's a great fit.
If that's truly his market value, I got
to draft a guy.
And that's fine. Yeah, and that's fine. I think Tyler Algier coupled with somebody else while you still also have Rashard Smith in the room, that works. If you told me it's Tyler Algier and then a running back in the 2nd round or a 3rd round pick and still have Rashard Smith in the picture, that could work. If you told me that you say they're not going to draft and they go Tyler Algier for a cheaper deal, $1.8 million on average. I don't know, what is that? We can assign to a 2-year deal at 1.8 per year or 3-year deal. I have no idea.
And then they do Rashad White or something.
Or a Rashard White type. Or you go and
I was thinking different styles. That's all.
Or you go and you couple the two and you say we're going to go Algier, who's more of a bruising type of back, and I go Algier with J.K. Dobbins and Rashard Smith, and just say those are the three. There's some options that they have to fix this running back room.
The question is because they went back to Clyde Edwards-Helaire so much and even played him over Elijah Mitchell this year, what is their hang up on the trust department in the running back room? Why it's been Kareem and Clyde when Kareem was once a new name in here and Pacheco was once a new name in here, guys they immediately trusted outside of it. But the veteran ones haven't really hit since the way they kind of used McKinnon. Is he the last just vet back they came in for the role we thought he was going to be in, and it worked based on the role he was in? Because they used to do that more successfully. Damian Williams and Jerick McKinnon and these other guys would come in and kind of fit what you're talking about, where you bring in Tyler Algier and you've got this kind of point. Look, I think Algier's a borderline perfect fit to go with their system as well. But if I'm doing him, I'm drafting a guy. I'm taking a 3rd round pick. Algier's going to be the bruiser, and Algier, Rashard Smith, and him, the drafted guy, we should be able to find our starting running back out of that group or run them in a trio that confuses and makes things difficult for teams. I don't think it's crazy.
More teams are
Falcons loved using Algier in 3rd downs too. They do 2 back.
That's what I'm saying. More and more teams. There's a handful of teams that don't, but more and more teams, you utilize 2 running backs in today's NFL. I mean, it's been that way for a bit. I mean, unless you have a Saquon Barkley, I mean, it's pretty rare. And even Tank Bigsby got some run late in the year for them. But usually it's not just one bell cow back. You have different types of running backs that provide you. Maybe one is more of a pass catching type of running back, but because of the dollar amount, if it's true, and look, Spot Track's very good at what they do for projecting, but sometimes they're off, right? Yeah. Tyler Algier, if the projection is right, not only did I just think he was a good fit anyway, but if it's really $1.8 million, then him and whoever, he maybe is not the marquee signing, but him with a draft pick or him with a bigger name, Kenneth Walker or J.K. Dobbins, that would be really intriguing to me.
But they're calling Etienne only $7 million per year. And he's coming off a season in which he had 1,100 yards rushing.
Let's see what he does in the postseason.
300 yards receiving, and 13 touchdowns. I mean, he was a 1,400-yard from scrimmage back this year. And look, to your point, Tootin, who is the guy who got quite a bit of backup run at him, he only had a quarter. I mean, Etienne was essentially a full-time starter for Jacksonville. He had 260 carries. Versus Bijan, who had 260, but they also ran it another 160 with Algier.
Some of the names we recognize, but I don't have interest in. See if you guys are in agreement or not. So Najee Harris, I know his name.
I thought he sucked before.
I'm out on that. He'll be 28 this year.
Genuinely never thought he was a good back, so no thank
not really all that. Austin Eckler, he's 31. No thank you.
He's only 31?
Injury issues, too.
You could have told me he was 38, and I would have
played 8 years.
He's only 31?
He's played 8 years in the league. Yeah,
okay.
He's 30 and a half, if you're looking at he'll be 31 during the season.
I could be talking to Rico Dowdle.
Rico Dowdle's 28. His projected salary is 6.5 per year. My only hesitation with him would be this came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. What he did in Carolina just completely came out of nowhere.
But because they tried to make it work in Dallas and it didn't. Remember?
Yeah, not completely. Nick Chubb, kind of done with him, man. Sorry, just broke down. It's just it's unfortunate, but he broke down. He's 30 as well, as you said. Some other just household names. AJ Dillon. He's the backup right now in Philadelphia. Was with Green Bay. In Philadelphia, one of the backup running backs.
Nah.
I get he would have to just be the Kareem Hunt role. He's only 3rd and 1. that would be it.
No thanks.
So there's options, man. There's some options in addition to the draft. this is why I don't think I know we all like Jeremiah Love, and it's hard not to, as the process goes on, to probably end up falling in love with that pick. I just don't think at 9 you need to take Jeremiah Love.
If one was back with either a free agent running back or in a drafted running back, would you rather have Pacheco on a 1-year deal or Kareem Hunt?
Kareem Hunt.
Let's just say the numbers are the same. Let's say it's $4 million.
At least Kareem. Like I'm kind of. I would rather the answer be none. But if you're making me pick one because of the goal line stuff or the short yardage success at times they had with Hunt, he would be it. I just think Pacheco needs to move on, and I also think he'll actually get $3.5-4 million somewhere to be like you and I were talking off there. I think he'll be like the number 2 running back with the Jets next year or something. That's what I think is going to happen for Pacheco.
I think you could talk me into Travis Etienne, and then you draft somebody like Nick Singleton, who's more of that power back. I mean, I think if you're going to get somebody like Etienne, then you maybe go for a bigger back in the draft, just from the standpoint of you don't even have to worry about bringing Kareem Hunt or Pacheco back. You just have Etienne, whatever running back you draft, and then you got Brashard Smith as one of the guys that can come in and spell every now and then.
Look, and this goes back to, and we'll talk about it in just a second, the allegations currently against Rashee Rice. If I have to, even in the hypothetical that Rashee Rice makes it through the end of his contract, which is only one more additional season, I kind of feel like running back is a thing I can fix later based on this free agent class. Similar to the way we talked about the draft last year. Last year, the draft was, hey, man, you can solve this right now. There's 1 million running backs. Just take one. Problem solved. There are at least 3 who could be full-time running backs, or at least mostly full-time running backs for you, Gold. You could bring in ETN. You could give Breece Hall money. You could, there are guys you can just sign and solve this problem for a little while and use those draft picks to solve some of these other mini problems you have.
And one new problem, potentially could be Rashee Rice. And I'm sure by now most people are well aware of the allegations, very serious, troubling allegations from an Instagram post. It is the ex-girlfriend of Rashee Rice, the mother of his 2 children. Without getting into the exact long paragraph, although, again, you can go and find it. The photos are extremely disturbing. And very serious accusations where she accuses him of putting hands on her, locking her outdoors in 10-degree weather, multiple instances of cheating, cutting up her clothing, abandoning the family in Kansas while he left for Texas. These are things that she accused him of. There's also, again, several really troubling photos of bruising.
Scratches, other stuff.
At this point, there is no police report in either the Kansas City area. I know Nate Taylor said he did some digging on this last night. In the Kansas City area or down in Dallas in the state of Texas. That's where we're at with the allegations right now. If there is any truth to what she is claiming, and he's not on this team next year.
No.
And now the NFL's come out with a statement and said, like they usually do, right? They're investigating as it proceeds to the personal conduct policy. The Chiefs put out a statement saying they're aware of the allegations from this Instagram post. They're in communication with the NFL. They have no further comment, and I don't think we're going to hear much more for a bit. The question will be, will there ever be a police report filed or any other evidence that, shows that this is, in fact, exactly what happened? And if it is,
oftentimes interviews victims in this case. Yeah.
If, in fact, any of this is true, then
he's not a chief.
Done. And I think there's a lot of people, and I've seen it on the text line today, that the mere mention of this, knowing the prior history,
I'm out.
A lot of people are just done anyway. At bare minimum, Cody, the extension talk is over.
Yeah.
Whether or not he may not even be available to play anyway, and they may not even get to that point, but the extension stuff, the talk this offseason that they go and extend them and get a team-friendly deal, that's done. You cannot trust him. The mere mention of this, coupled with the prior incident, as we all know, with the accident in Dallas.
I told you this before. This has happened with other players where they get in a little bit of trouble, and then all you're saying is, hey, keep your nose clean. Not even for something this bad, but keep your nose clean. Stay out of the news. Don't do anything wrong. Be quiet. Stay at home. Don't go out. Whatever you got to do, right?
Yeah.
Find a way to not get in trouble, and then for this to come out. Look, I'm done. I'm no longer interested in Rice being around. But I think that there's a way, because the Chiefs do try to work with players with issues, and there is no there is no police report right now. The NFL is typically now waited until there is at least that kind of stuff to make any kind of punishment as it relates to it, or at the very least, credible evidence from the interviewed party that would lead to that. I think there's a chance he gets suspended for a portion of the year. I think, and if that happens, then he's definitely not going to be on the team. But even if not, he is not a Chief in 2027.
I don't know how that happens.
I don't see a universe in which that occurs now. How? You gave him the second chance. He went through massive legal stuff. He's still supposed to spend 30 days in jail at some point. And now he's going to be accused of these. And again, I understand their accusations. I'm not here to tell you whether or not Rashee Rice is innocent or guilty today. What I'm telling you is,
none of us know. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm telling you is based on his current history and that coming up, there is absolutely no way almost he ends up as a Chief in the long term, which means you have to entertain some stuff at number 9 that if you weren't entertaining before, if you were just thinking defensive line, tell me how you can't think Tyson, think Carnell Tate. Consider some of these other guys who might fly up the draft boards depending on what happens in the combine, and that can't be a real conversation. Maybe no Kelsey, maybe no Rice. You're just down to Xavier Worthy and Jalen Royals. That doesn't feel like enough.
Yeah, they have some time here before April to find out more information about what did or did not occur and what that potentially means for his future in the NFL. And also with whatever they find in their own investigation, the Chiefs and their discussions, whether or not they want this guy around. And they will have till April to make that decision in terms of how it impacts or doesn't impact their draft. Yeah. But it does absolutely change, I think, the calculus. And you're right on the Kelsey part.
The draft no matter
the calculus with Kelsey. We've been talking the last couple of days about his desire maybe to come back. And we played the audio the other day from his New Heights podcast where he's talking about it being more about whether or not he physically and his body will allow him to get through an 18-plus game schedule again. And I told you yesterday or 2 days ago, that for me, I want him back, but it's got to be the right price. I'll tell you this. If Rashee Rice is not part of the picture next year, then it can be, I don't care if it's actually $16 million. I told you, I don't want to pay him $16 million next year. But if there's no Rashee Rice, you have no choice. You have no choice but to pay him whatever it takes to keep Travis Kelce at that point.
Or overpay. Who's going to be the biggest free agent wide receiver? Like Alec Pierce? Because George Pickens, we all agree, is probably going to get...
Franchise tagged?
Because it'd be Pickens if it wasn't that.
The Cowboys are not letting him go.
Well, it'd also be kind of funny for like a player who's had difficulty being on a team to all of a sudden go from that issue. And even though I'm going to tell you a name, and he's 31 years old, and I know it's not going to solve their problems long term, but genuinely, he's not 21, he's like 28. Who I would genuinely consider is Brandon Ayuk. I'm about 99% sure he's
coming off injuries. We don't know if he wants to play football anymore.
I'm like 99% sure he's just going to get floated out by the 49ers and cut anyway. And he's going to be a free agent. And if I were Ayuk and I was thinking 1-2 year deal, 1 year with a second year option to revamp before I get, because he can't get his big deal right now. He can't. Right. If I thought, where am I going to get my deal? Oh, no number one wide receiver in Kansas City anymore. Mm-hmm. And I used to be a 1,200 yard guy. And I'm not kidding, similar build, similar route tree. Similar player to that is Rashee Rice. Great yards after contact guy. He's pretty much just Rashee Rice. As far as player comp goes, I feel like that's a player I would both be interested in, and I think he would be interested here.
Go ahead.
Would you maybe consider more trading Trent McDuffie to get a first that you could use next year to double up and get a guy like Jeremiah Smith? I don't know. Again, I don't know where the Chiefs are going to be picking next year, but I know that some of the conversations have been, Gold, you don't think they're going to be ready to contend again fully, truly, till 27?
As in Super Bowl contender,
Does this sort of thing make you think, well, instead of, like, you might have to draft a guy in 9, but also thinking you could get a guy of that caliber where you flip Trent McDuffie and use that pick to double up and move up to get Jeremiah Smith?
Before any of these Rashee Rice allegations, I've said I don't believe that they will be a Super Bowl contender next year. People can obviously disagree, but I believe they should be looking how to set themselves up best for 2027. Here's the only thing, and I'm open to listening on offers for Trent McDuffie. Here's the only thing. At some point, though, we're getting to where you got to have, like, if Travis Kelce retires and Rice is not on the team, and you trade Trent McDuffie, like, this is like,
you have cleaned out.
So, while, yes, you would stockpile picks, but at some point, like, I don't know if it actually makes it less likely. The Brandon Ayuk thing, real quick, you brought him up. I think a couple years ago, we remember his name was linked to Kansas City. People were thought a trade candidate. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if that came from inside the Chiefs organization, if this regime has interest. My only hesitation with Ayuk, I get your logic on for him, like why he would want to come here, but he's still coming off major injuries. Yeah. Kyle Shanahan, I think we all kind of respect him. It sounds like basically he's saying that this guy didn't want to work anymore.
Yeah, so he wouldn't show up.
That's a problem.
Oh, I'm not saying it doesn't come with some risk. I'm openly admitting it. It's just one of those risks I would probably take. Look, and here's the thing about like the Trent McDuffie thing, Drew. I think they can be a Super Bowl contender next year. Alex doesn't. And that's, again, like that's just like an opinion. We're allowed to vary on that. I will say, I don't think, whether Alex is right or I'm right, I don't think the Chiefs would ever do that year where what Alex talked about. No Travis Kelce, no Rice, no McDuffie, and just be like, you know what? We'll just throw a year away with Mo. They'll never do it that way. They'll never view it that. They'll never try. They'll never put themselves in a position for it to even kind of maybe be like that.
Not now. I mean, like let's say Trent McDuffie goes out and has another spectacular season. Let's say they just play this out. Do they do it like next year at this time? Is what I would be saying. Where you realize, you know what, this is what we know the roster is built this way. We could potentially get our stud wide receiver. Like I don't know if that changes. Because I'm on team. Do not trade Trent McDuffie still as of right now.
I just don't think they're going to operate like what do we do in 2027.
Yeah,
of course not.
The way you said it though, you said Trent McDuffie plays all next year. Then would I trade? I'll be out. Like I know we're supposed to have an opinion. There's so many variables. I have no like. Does that change my opinion? I mean, there's so many variables to whether or not. Now, fast forward to next year. We're trying to figure out this offseason, let alone trying to figure out now, like, what do you think I'm going to feel about McDuffie next February? What's the?
I'm just saying,
I don't know who's on there. There's so many things that can change.
I'm sure
who they drafted, who's still here. Yeah,
because obviously they need more than just like. Let's say they were to do this, they still need more than just one player to replace the production of course, Kelce, and if Rasheed is not there anymore. But just thinking of getting a guy that you won't have to worry about because look. Cardinal Tate's great. He's not Jeremiah Smith. Jordan Tyson's great. He's not Jeremiah Smith. And I just thinking from that standpoint, if you can get by and then utilize where you're at next year potentially along with a McDuffie trade or whatever the case is to secure that sort of a player, then maybe that just changes your mind about it, whether you do or do not trade McDuffie.
When's the next time you think we hear anything on Rice? Month? 2 months? Combine? Veach will have to answer something at the Combine. That'll be
that's the next time he's discussed. That's the next time he's available. The question is, so his ex-girlfriend made the post on Instagram. The question would be, does she now
want to file charges or just wanted to get it out there?
Right. And so that's, as far as more information, it depends on what path she chooses and what she's comfortable with moving forward. Did she just want her story out there and yet but she doesn't want there to be charges? Does she want more? That's
hard to say.
Very hard to say. Only she can answer that. I have no idea. I tend to think we're not going to hear much of anything for a while.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll just be all we're aware of the situation.
It definitely complicated the offseason. There's no secret there. I mean,
it was already complicated.
It was a busy offseason already with a lot of decisions, and now this potentially makes it even more so. Short term, if he's available to play. Long term, it just makes the contract extension conversation
It's a real transition year, admittedly, because it could still be a year where there's no Kelce. They're going to change offensive coordinators from one of it's just been Nagy or Bieniemy for so many years now. I barely can even remember the Doug Peterson left so long ago that he took a head coaching job, coached it for multiple years, got fired, took a different head coaching job, coached it for multiple years, and got fired since the last time it wasn't one of those two guys as offensive coordinator. So that era feels so long and distant ago that unless they just bring back Bieniemy again, it would feel like we're getting ready to head to an offseason where there is real transition and real change. And again, it lines up well for you in the sense that if you're going to have to do all that, at least be picking number 9. At least also have, because you still have Mahomes, you still have a lot of, I don't want to try to make it seem like every time we talk about the Chiefs, there's no redeemable quality about the roster. There are things on the roster that still work. Most importantly, Mahomes.
Yeah, this is not the Raiders. This is not the Tennessee Titans. Okay, this is not the Cleveland Browns. They're just held to a much higher standard. You're competing for championships, and I think we all recognize at the end of this season and right now there are multiple things that would have to take place, at least for me, to believe that they're a Super Bowl contender again. And they got some. This is why Brett Veach and his staff they get paid the money. They have a lot of things they have to get right this offseason, and they also I think are going to have to. Maybe they won't. I think when they go through their draft process. No matter how this Rasheed Rice thing ends, when they go through it, I'm sorry, you've got to change a little bit of your thought process and on how you judge the character of certain players. I understand abilities. Look, Rashee Rice is physically gifted. No kidding, right? Such a gifted player. And that's what makes the whole thing also, dumber, because you got all this talent in the world. What the hell are you thinking? But you as an organization, we all know the examples. I don't have to go through each one. After all the issues that have arose with some of these guys that they have drafted. And
might have to start taking guys off your board if you got
problems. You might want to think about it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And how you evaluate. All right, coming up next, we'll get to what's trending here on Cody and Gold. We'll also take a look at the AFC side of Wild Card Weekend and all 32 right here on Cody and Gold.
This is Wyatt Thompson, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays 10 to 2, right here on your home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Member Week is here for pros at Lowe's. Get up to 40% off hundreds of items from tools and paint to kitchen and bath and more. Just in time to stock up for this year's jobs. Plus, earn 5 times the points on an eligible purchase. Shop member deals in-store and online from January 8th through the 14th. Still not a member? Join for free today. Lowe's. We help, you save. Point boosters subject to exclusions and more terms apply. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change.
This new year, get started on your next success with University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply by February 11th and get your application fee waived. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid classes, along with more than 135 degrees and certificates in fields like business, cybersecurity, healthcare, and more. Gain the skills you need to achieve your career goals. Get your application fee waived through February 11th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this. What's trending?
God dang!
Brought to you by Telly Tire and Auto Centers. Winning starts with a great drive. Since 1942, Telly's certified techs have delivered complete car care with top brand tires and expert auto service. Keep your drive going. Take it to Telly. Visit tellytire.com today.
Number one on what's trending, we just got done talking about it during the Chiefs Red Half Hour. By now, most of you, I'm sure, are well aware of the Instagram post from the ex-girlfriend and the mother of the 2 children for Rashee Rice, the serious abuse allegations that were posted on her Instagram, along with photos. So far, there is no evidence of a police report. There has not been a police report filed. The Chiefs put out a statement acknowledging, of course, they're aware of the allegations. They are working with the NFL. The NFL put out a statement saying they are in discussion with the Chiefs and that they'll
investigate it under the personal conduct policy.
Handling it under that policy. We don't know anything more. We'll get back into this, I'm sure, a little bit later on. But as we just spent, the last 10 minutes talking about it during the Chiefs Red Half Hour, there's the real world example and discussion, I should say, of the serious nature of what is alleged. There's the football side of it where it impacts how on earth would you ever consider extending the guy. And the Chiefs draft.
You don't have a lot of long-term options at wide receiver.
Yeah, and the Chiefs draft plan. So massive news involving Rashee Rice.
Next up on What's Trending, the Miami Dolphins have made it the 8th NFL team seeking a head coach by firing Mike McDaniel this morning. Internally, they're claiming it had nothing to do with John Harbaugh's availability, but instead a meeting between him and Ross that eventually led him to make the decision. Obviously, that means now 25% of every single opening in the NFL, or every single team in the NFL, will be available for a job. No hirings have happened yet. Reportedly, Tennessee is much closer to hiring, I'm sorry, not Tennessee. Atlanta, I think, is much, or no, sorry, Miami. God, I can't get the team right. Miami is much closer to hiring a general manager. So obviously that person might help with some of the coaching search to go as well. Harbaugh said to maybe take a little bit of time with it. I think he's waiting to see if a playoff team fires their head coach and sees if he can't accidentally, slip into Green Bay or some other town that maybe.
Yeah, we'll get to that during All 32. Elsewhere, college basketball, Missouri last night, big win, first ever win at Rupp Arena, 73-68 over Kentucky. Come from behind win. They were awesome in the final 4 minutes or so. Next up for them will be Ole Miss. Kansas State, meanwhile, was on the road against number 1 Arizona. Going into the game, they were massive underdogs. They closed as a 17.5-point dog. They lost 101-76. Things continue to look bleak for the Kansas State Wildcats and Jerome Tang. They're 0-2 in conference play. They're 9-6 on the season.
Yeah, they already feel like another lost season for Jerome Tang and the Wildcats. Is certainly where it already looks like it's headed.
Doesn't look good.
And, boy, his job security's got to be on thin ice if they miss the tournament once again. That's putting it politely.
Yeah.
Next up on What's Trending, speaking of the local connections, Matt Nagy is interviewing across the country. He now will have an interview with the Rams on Sunday, according to multiple NFL. Ravens.
Okay. No, I was like, did I miss something?
No,
I was like,
fine.
well, that's
with the
interesting.
Ravens coming up on Sunday, according to multiple NFL insiders. He now has interviews with the Cardinals, Raiders, Ravens, and, of course, Tennessee Titans. So Matt Nagy garnering quite a bit of national interest, at least from the interview circuit perspective. But there's a lot of other guys. Vance Joseph is interviewing everywhere. Some other guys.
Some of these teams interview 8 guys, 10 guys. I mean, it's pretty normal. He also is a guy that had head coaching experience. He was part of his staff. While I understand how people in Kansas City are perceiving him, he was still part of a staff that won multiple Super Bowls, or multiple Super Bowls.
He's won multiple Super Bowls.
So, like, I get why. I understand the perception around him is ugly right now in Kansas City. But I'm not surprised he's getting interviews. I mean, that shouldn't surprise anybody.
No. He's going to have a lot of
I
opportunities.
don't think he's getting the Baltimore Ravens head coaching
I'll
gig.
tell you right now.
that
he
would
gets
be
the Ravens gig.
That'd be amazing
Dream
for him.
scenario if I were Matt Nagy.
Good for him, if in fact that happened. Elsewhere tonight, college football playoff semis. Ole Miss and Miami, first one up. Tomorrow we'll get Indiana and Oregon, but it starts kickoff at 6:30. Ole Miss underdogs against Carson Beck and company. Looking forward to that tonight, man. We don't have Thursday night football NFL wise. It's over. So
like the only thing on TV.
If you love football, pretty simple. You get college football playoff semifinal tonight, college football semifinal tomorrow night, Saturday NFL playoff, Sunday Monday NFL playoff.
That's great.
So for the next 5 days, you get not just football, elimination football.
It's the best
for the next 5 straight days. So pretty big run.
Yeah.
Lastly, on What's Trending. Former number 1 overall recruit DJ Lagway is heading to Baylor via the
Big
transfer
12 is getting a little bit better.
Big 12,
I don't know if Baylor's going to be like that, but DJ Lagway was like the 3rd highest ranked player in the quarterback in the portal, 4th. He was in that list.
He was a former number 1 overall stock guy. He was a huge.
He showed super good signs at Florida at moments, but there's also some last year he really struggled at times in a couple of games throwing interceptions. So yeah, we'll see. The Big 12 is. The Big 12 is getting better, just in terms of a talent perspective, and also just with the money that's being spent from schools.
Yeah, they got to.
K-State's been active.
Honestly,
been active.
It is genuinely a good thing for the conference, whether you like it or not. It's a good thing for the conference that Texas Tech was like, "What if we spend $1 gajillion every year? Raise the profile of the conference." And this conference, we mentioned this with K-State. Drew, I don't know if you were around. Alex and I talked about this, I think, when it was, maybe you were, when officially it was announced that they were going to lose a couple more, Oklahoma and Texas, when they were going to lose those schools. We said, there's now a void, and anyone in the Big 12 is allowed to be the team that fills the void of I'm the big dog football team in this conference. I thought K-State might have a chance to do that. They have not done that to this point. At this point, do we think it's Tech seemingly wanting to?
Financially, it's hard to say
argue with Tech
K-State will
right now.
take over for them. Yeah.
I just thought they had such a good.
It didn't help the Big
program.
12 in a way that Tech got shut out again in the playoff. It didn't help much, but we'll see if they can.
That's the problem. That's the problem is they all the money invested, and they're going to be right back in the mix again next year. But yeah, the showing in the CFP, of course, was not what the Big 12 was hoping for.
Brendan Sorsby's making more money than Shedeur is in the NFL. His entire contract.
Cincinnati's old quarterback going to make $5 million reportedly to transfer, and he has transferring to Texas Tech. $5 million. Again, great for him. I don't know if he has any chance to be anything in the NFL, so go get your money now. Go get your money now. While we can say all that and how that's great for them, it still is a complete mess, and they have got to fix this system. It is just. It's awesome. Like if you're worth what you're, if somebody wants to pay you $5 million, by all means, I am all for you being able to go get yourself $5 million. This is not a anti-players being able to make money.
Oh, get your cash.
But man, there has got to be some real contracts written up. There has to be some safeguards around how the portal works and deadlines and what coaches, when they can get interviews. A lot has to change. NIL can be a great thing, and in a lot of ways it has been. But it has also been a major problem for some of these universities. And I think even as much as a sports fan, we like seeing now Indiana, because of NIL, evolve the way they have. And we're talking about Texas Tech. These are two programs that were not on the national stage really ever. And that's great. But the downside still as a fan, Cody, is you don't have any attachment to the players. So you better just have the attachment to your school, because there's no like, oh my gosh, I love this quarterback. Like KU, for example, they could go and recruit a quarterback out of high school and he could be amazing and be in the running for the Heisman. The next year he's probably leaving.
Yeah.
And that sucks as a fan, for whether you want to use K-State as the example or any other school.
This is like, again, I think it's overall good because I think players have stayed longer, are staying longer. Competition is equal.
It's good for the sport of college football.
It's better for, but here's what the problem, Drew, is that college football is better now for me. More competition, different teams, deeper rosters. I didn't have allegiance. They killed the nature of the sport for the people who loved it. The pageantry, the names who stuck around for the guys who could be great college players,
Tebow,
who didn't have to be great pros. They were just great college players and stuck with their school for 4 years. They killed the regular fan, and they're just drawing me instead. Now, in fairness, the ratings are very good. So they probably don't care, and instead, we'll just stick with it. But either way, I'm looking forward to Miami Ole Miss tonight, and we'll see what happens in that game. Let's take a look at the AFC playoffs, though, Gold, as you previously mentioned. We'll look at the NFC side of things tomorrow and break it down game by game, and that way we can make our official predictions for who we think wins what. And then I think maybe tomorrow we should announce who we at least think is going to make the Final Four and win the Super Bowl and put it all on paper, Gold. You know how this works, at least so that we're held responsible for it. The most intriguing game is obviously Jags and Bills, which we'll get to in a minute. Should we be giving the Chargers more of a chance? Are we forgetting that the Patriots didn't play anybody and that we don't know as much about them as we do the other teams? Or does that just not matter because they played so well and Drake May played so well that we're now just ignoring, or it doesn't matter the fact that they played the softest NFL schedule in history? Here, just as a reminder, these are the teams. The Patriots won 14 games. It's a lot. Here's some of the teams they beat. They beat Miami twice, a really bad team. The Raiders. They lost to the Steelers, believe it or not. They beat the Panthers, who ended up being a better win than we thought, and the Bills, which are also good wins. But then it was the Saints before they even switched to Shuck. Titans, Browns, Falcons, Jets, Bengals. If you don't know, these are all the teams picking in the top 10 of the NFL draft. Giants, etc. So, there is still part of me that thinks, I don't know, maybe they're a paper tiger and Justin Herbert could just get hot. My problem is that Justin Herbert doesn't look good in the postseason. So am I supposed to assume he's just going to turn it on against the Patriots defense? That's hard to imagine.
The problem for Herbert is his team is so banged up around him.
I know, they're hurt.
And so, I think New England's winning this game. They have an experienced head coach. So while, yes, there's not a ton of experience playoff-wise on the overall roster, their head coach has experience. Mike Vrabel's in full control there. Maybe the coach of the year this year, we'll see. Maybe the MVP this year, we'll see. We haven't seen Drake May in the postseason, but I think he's ready for the moment. Do I think they're going to necessarily go and win a Super Bowl? I don't know about that. But win a game against the Chargers with all the injuries the Chargers have, the Chargers going from the West Coast out to New England for a road game in that atmosphere, Yeah, I think the Patriots win this game. I'm on New England.
I am too. I just wanted to ask if, I was playing devil's advocate for a minute. Is there, a way in which you could see it happening?
It's almost a miracle the Chargers actually made it, because if you look, I think somebody put this out.
Honestly.
Pro Football Focus-wise, their offense and defensive lines were 31st and 32nd in Pro Football Focus grades.
It says a lot about Justin Herbert. I told you earlier, I give them a lot of credit. They shouldn't have finished 11-6. I think they've outperformed what the season set up for them injury-wise. Now, in fairness, it's like so weird. The injury stuff, at some point I'm going to figure this out. Did you realize that there was the 49ers? Did you see that one?
Yeah.
It's so funny. I was putting in all 32. I'm like, are we really now saying that, like,
the brief summary is basically the 49ers stadium in Santa Clara is next to like an electric substation. Okay, and then somebody did a study that basically the electricity
that comes off of that is
can
bad
lead to joints and tendons, and that's why the Niners are having injuries. And it's a fascinating read, but. Yeah, that's what
it's an interesting theory, and one I'm just going to put it up there with like the Avril Lavigne body double. I'm just going to choose to believe it because I can't understand otherwise why the 49ers are hurt so much.
Don't you think if
maybe it is the electricity from the power station?
Don't you think if the players actually were like no, then they would be forced to move?
If it were true, yeah, you have
to move, and you move the.
Or you got to move can't move the power station.
It's tougher to move the substation than it is to move the football stadium.
Is it?
That's what the article. That's what they were mentioning.
Tough. Just gonna have to deal
with because of footprint. You need there's a reason why the substation is there. Like you need it for that area. Where are you gonna put it?
Just move the stadium over.
It's a fascinating read. We've gotten way too.
You
deep
actually
into
should
already,
look at. It's too hard to explain on radio because it gets way too deep into like electricity readings and case studies and stuff. You'll have to look it up online. It's a worthy thread.
So we're all on the Patriots, it sounds like, which means the Chargers might win. Okay, so the Patriots were on. How about the Texans and the Steelers? It's the AFC North champion Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Texans.
In an hour and a half, I've changed my mind. The Texans are winning.
You flipped.
Yeah,
you flipped. I'm on the Steelers still.
I feel like I talked myself into it because of Mike Tomlin and one lucky kick. The Texans have the better defense and the better offense.
They do. I don't disagree.
I don't know.
I don't disagree.
That seems pretty simple.
The game in Pittsburgh too is part of the reasoning. If the game was in Houston, I think I would.
I understand that. And I do think the game will be close. Alex thinks it's going to be a little more high scoring. I think it's going to be like 13-10.
Yeah, I think it's in
but
the
I
20s.
actually do. I'll take the Texans in this one. I've changed my mind already.
You flipped.
I flipped.
All right.
I've changed my mind.
Yeah, I think it's a little higher scoring than we typically would think for this matchup. And the Texans defense, while we've talked about them being championship caliber, and I still think they are, but they've been a little leakier here recently. They gave up 30 to Riley Leonard in his first career start in the Colts last week. And I know somebody was disagreeing with me earlier on the text line, how I was saying, the Texans were trying to win that game. And I understand late, the final quarter, C.J. Stroud got pulled. But defensively, Riley Leonard put up 30, I believe, before they even got to the final few minutes of that game. So the Texans defense has not been quite as dominant. Steelers get DK Metcalf back. I think this will be a very, very close game. And in a really close game, I'll think that Aaron Rodgers can pull something out again. He's been doing it all year. Having DK back is a big deal. And Mike Tomlin, while I think DeMeco Ryans is a hell of a coach, I think Mike Tomlin gets the slight edge here in that aspect because of the experience in the postseason.
Sure. I just think the Texans have largely been the better team a huge chunk of the year.
TJ Watt's fresh. He's fresh.
Yeah, and it's not the way I was planning on them being good. I always just kind of thought they might take off when CJ Stroud took another level, but they just have one of the league's best defenses and best defensive lines. I think Aaron Rodgers might die on Monday night.
Okay.
I think it's just I think it's a real problem. The Steelers' offensive line has not exactly been great this year. And so and the Texans' defensive line's been awesome. So and then we get to Bills Jags, because again, we'll do the NFC side tomorrow. I've gone back and forth on this game 400 times because really what I'm battling is the way to simply break it down is the Jags are the better team. The Bills have Josh Allen. Josh Allen has been awesome in the playoffs in every single game, including the ones he lost to the Chiefs. The only game in which he was mediocre might have been that one game he lost to Joe Burrow. And that was maybe the only bad playoff game he's had in a stretch. They rely on the run so much. It is the key factor for what makes them a good football team is Cook. The Jags are the best run defense in the league. That is a thing that I'm choosing not to ignore for this. And the fact that even though I'm a Trevor Lawrence hater and pretty much have been this entire time, I can't ignore the fact that he's playing at an incredibly high level right now. And he's played well in a postseason game before. Not a lot, but he didn't even play bad in that Kansas City game against them in the postseason. That was a close game. And so in the brief stint I've seen Trevor Lawrence play, in the brief stint I've seen Liam Cohen be a head coach, and because they got the better roster, I'll choose the Jags to win it, and then we'll have to wonder whether or not McDermott's getting fired on Monday.
That outcome brings far more questions and intrigue for the offseason if Buffalo loses. I'll go with Buffalo in this game. You kind of said at the beginning. I deep down in the playoffs, typically it is still about the best quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence is playing way better and is playing some of his best football of his NFL career, if not the best football of his NFL career. There's still a ton more experience on the Bills side of things. Josh Allen, you're right about the run game, James Cook, but also in the playoffs, we know Josh Allen is going to be more willing than he already is to put his body on the line if he's got to go get it. And I believe that will be evident on, was it Sunday they play or Saturday? Sunday that the Bills-Jags play. So
Saturday.
I
think they're Saturday night, aren't they?
Packers Bears is Saturday.
No, you're right.
Are they
So
the first game? Yeah, they're the first
On
game.
Prime, I think, or something like that.
Anyway, no, noon. It's noon. Bills
Saturday.
Is it noon or 3?
Packers
Anyway.
Bears is the late game. I think,
I know that's the late one. Either way.
Noon.
Okay, noon.
Noon Sunday. God, I'm way off.
It is Sunday.
That's the Nance game.
That's
I'm assuming that's Nance.
All right. Anyway.
I don't care. Already screwed that up too much.
I'll go with the better quarterback. I think Josh Allen shows up. They get the win against Jacksonville. He's part of the run game as well. You're right about the Jags defense, but I'll go with Buffalo.
Drew, you got the Jags too? Is there a reason behind it?
Well, I mean, the Bills are also on my number one. I don't want to see them win list, but I do legitimately think that
legitimately think they're going to win.
I do legitimately think that the Jags are the 3 seed for a reason, and the way that they've looked here over the last month or two, it just leads me to believe that they've got everything going their way, and they've got the momentum going into these playoffs, which is why I think they're going all the way.
You think the Jags are going to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
As a little extra tease?
Yep.
Oh, by the way,
Ross Tucker said that. He said that he thought
thinking
whoever
of
won this game.
Thinking of bets. You have the Hooters outfit ready for tomorrow?
Yes.
You took it home yesterday?
Yep.
And
cleaned it?
Did you wash it?
Well, yeah, I've washed it. I have not tried it on, but I
was going to say, how does it fit?
It has been washed. I might have to go and get. Yeah, I might have to. I think the compression shorts are going to be a must. I think that has to happen. There's no choice.
I don't want it to make it seem like Drew's not honoring the full part of the bet, but I also
for our
can't
sake,
indecently expose himself at work.
For our sake, please have compression shorts on underneath.
You don't. I don't know.
Nobody wants that.
I don't know the way that it's going to look. So
as a reminder,
we'll have to get a photo, I suppose. Maybe
we said we didn't think Cincinnati was making the postseason. Mm-hmm. Drew said they were making the postseason. And then we put on the line that Alex and I would have to wear this Hooters uniform that was downstairs. I think it used to belong to a former employee here. It's for an Overland Park-based Hooters location, but it looks like it's size extra small. So we'll see how well.
It was funny.
I mean, it might rip when you just put on the top. Like I don't know. Try not to rip it when you're trying it on,
the top. I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll do my best.
Like that thing is gonna be so short. His nipples might be showing.
There's no
with
way.
The crop. That's how tiny this thing is.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that short.
I don't know.
I wouldn't lift your arms up. I'd be careful there, or you are going to have that happen. Do you talk with your hands a lot? Do you do any of this?
And we have video stream on. The stream will be on Drew a little bit more than normal tomorrow. Just saying.
That happened when I got the haircut too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to all 32. All 32 here on Cody and Gold, brought to you by the Sheet Metal Workers Local Number 2. Nominate your school for a $20,000 enrichment grant today at 965thefan.com. Coming up in about 10 minutes or so, we will go out to Buffalo, by the way, and talk with Mike Schoop from WGR 550. We'll ask him about Josh Allen, his health, Josh Allen's legacy, Sean McDermott's future if they were to lose. How are they talking in Buffalo? But I'll go with this. You hinted at it during What's Trending. John Harbaugh reportedly is telling teams, hey, I'm not interviewing this week at all. That's by design. It makes you think he is waiting to see if Buffalo fires Sean McDermott. If Green Bay, in my opinion, makes a mistake and fires Matt LaFleur if they were to lose to Chicago, or any of these playoff teams for that matter, to see if he could jump into a team next year that was already just in the playoffs and he doesn't have to deal with any sort of rebuilding around or anything like that. And it is very smart for him. So I think that's what's going on here. He wants to see if there's another team or two that might have interest.
Well, and those teams in the playoffs tend to be the more stable organizations. And I imagine that's something he would thrive with, just knowing that He's coming from one of the top 5 most stable organizations in the entire NFL based on the last 30 to, I don't know, whenever the Ravens came into existence. What was it, like the mid-90s when they officially became a franchise? During that time, there's been almost no more stable organization than the Ravens, or at least around that list, so I wouldn't surprise it. I've seen a couple of these reports, and I feel like it's worth addressing because I don't feel like it's a thing that happens anymore because it hasn't happened in so long, and I also don't think it's a wise decision. I've seen some people suggest, because he is yet to declare for the NFL draft, that maybe Dante Moore would consider going back to college football and dodging the New York Jets.
Todd McShay has come out and...
Now, I will admit, it would be easier now than ever, because if Dante Moore all of a sudden said, hi, I'd like to come be the quarterback in college football, someone will give him a mountain of cash to come be their starting quarterback. So, to get paid, that's not going to be a problem. But if you're going to be the number 2 overall pick, you just have to go there. Cincinnati was a laughingstock. Joe Burrow went there. They've been to a Super Bowl. Lots of these quarterbacks who went to bad teams, it's on you. You can fix a bad organization as a bad quarterback sometimes. I understand it's not always that way. Look at Sam Darnold in Seattle or Baker Mayfield now in the Bucs. You can't fix every bad organization, but you got to just believe that you can. If you're the number 2 overall pick, Gold, I just think it's a mistake. You never know what might happen that pushes you further down a draft board. You could be a 3rd-round pick next year. I know that sounds crazy, but it happens like that in the NFL.
Yep.
And so don't leave. Do leave. And I don't know, if the Jets take you, just be the starting quarterback of the Jets.
Mile 32, Gold, I've got some audio in our folder if you could play this. Jerry Jones has come out and said that, well, you know what? I'm just going to let Jerry do the talking.
My goal in life is to retire as the owner that won the most Super Bowls. That's my goal. We've got 3. How many more do I have to go as a single owner? Bob's got how many? 6? So I've got
work to do.
Got work to do. I got work to do, but at least I'm up to the 2nd rung in the ladder.
If Jerry
Is he
Jones,
planning to live to 150?
If Jerry Jones wants to get to 7 Super Bowls, they have to turn into the Chiefs dynasty next year.
Drew, he'll have to Ted Williams his frozen head and count that 100 years from now if he wants to get to 7 Super Bowls.
That still won't be enough time.
I'm just like, are you serious?
I appreciate the goals, and all that stuff.
Set realistic goals. You can have goals, but it shouldn't be that,
Jerry Jones is 83, by the way.
It has been 30 years since he won one, and he's now thinking he's about to win 4.
His goal is to get to 7.
Or 3, whatever
he's at. 4 more.
4 more? Yeah, come on. He's got the Cowboys have 5 Super Bowls, right?
He said he has 3.
I guess, yeah. So the Cowboys have 5. He has 3. Gotcha.
So if he gave himself the 5, he still won't get it, but at least he'd have a chance.
The entirety of Mahomes' career, he still wouldn't get 7. They could turn it into the Chiefs dynasty they've had since Patrick Mahomes came in the league, and he still wouldn't get to 7.
He's never, ever, ever going to get there.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
This is where I think, this is where Gold yesterday said, you can have an opinion, but some opinions are just stupid. You can have goals. It is good to have goals. But if you have goals that are unachievable, it's a stupid goal.
It's not necessarily unachievable.
That is unachievable.
It is unachievable.
He's 86 years old.
Look, no.
It's unachievable.
I know. The Chiefs doubled up. If the Cowboys doubled up in the next 2 years and Jerry Jones is 85, he just needs 2 more.
Okay.
Is it realistic? Absolutely not. But is it unachievable? No. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I don't think he's not.
I mean, you are correct by saying factually. You are factually correct that until he no longer is alive, it is possible. You are correct.
Technically, yes.
By that aspect.
By that same aspect, it's technically possible that Gold becomes the president of Microsoft and Bill Gates leaves him all of his money. It is technically possible that happens.
There might be a better shot that Jerry Jones actually gets to that than Gold has at that, I think. Which is why.
And they just get tight. Dates a Gates' daughter. One of them single?
Does he have kids?
He has kids. Because he says he's not going to leave all his money to him.
No.
But maybe if you're in the mix,
There you go. I mean, I'm all for that.
Phoebe and Jennifer Gates. I don't know if either of them are. One of them is a veterinarian and equestrian. How do you feel about that?
Perfect.
Equestrian.
Perfect.
I'm just asking.
Perfect. Sounds good to me.
Good old Jerry Jones.
Delusional.
That's exactly what it is. No other way to describe it. No other way.
That wasn't necessarily a drop moment, but
it
was still it was still fun to play audio.
Yeah,
Jerry Jones.
I mean,
He gives us some all-time drops on this show, so we can't really complain.
Oh, yeah, he's,
How many times have you seen the little rascal so clever?
What was that even about?
Micah Parsons. He called Micah Parsons a little rascal.
Idiot things can turn into good decisions.
So no, that actually encompasses his take and his goal.
Yeah.
It do. It really do.
All right, up next, we'll go to Buffalo. We'll talk more about the AFC. Could Sean McDermott's job be on the line? What about legacy for Josh Allen? We go to Buffalo and talk with Mike Schoop at WGR 550 next.
Watch Cody and Gold on YouTube by subscribing to the 96.5 YouTube channel. Cody and Gold is brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Are you ready for some action, basketball fans? Dusty Likens here. You know I am. BetMGM, an authorized gaming partner of the NBA, is giving players another reason to hit the court this season. BetMGM is adding extra excitement to every basket, every slam dunk, and every buzzer-beating shot with special promotions, new features, and more. Log in throughout the season to find odds boost tokens, no sweat tokens, and same-game parlay boost tokens in your account to amplify those winnings. Enjoy enhanced product features like dark mode as well. We have lots in store between now and when the new champions are crowned. So log into BetMGM, an authorized gaming partner of the NBA, all throughout the basketball season to see what's new. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly.
Caesars Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesars Rewards. Bet on gridiron action and earn perks on every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code Radio250BM and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250, whether you win or lose. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Missouri. Open to new users only. Minimum odds, -500. Awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Did you know we have an Instagram channel? MVP Monday, Chiefs Take Tuesday, Best Bets, Fantasy Football Advice, and real-time updates during Chiefs games. Get behind-the-scenes content from all the guys on a daily basis. It's exactly why Instagram was created, to look at a bunch of 30-year-old dudes giving sports opinions. Kansas City's FM sports station, and your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Wildcat fans, this is Wyatt Thompson. Tune in all season long to the play-by-play of the 2025 football season, right here on your home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
We'll get Mike Schoop on the line here in just a minute or two. Mike Schoop from WGR 550 in Buffalo. We've had him on over the years, usually talking about big matchups for the Chiefs and Bills, usually talking about the Chiefs in an AFC title game, maybe against the Buffalo Bills. Not the case this go around, but they have a huge game taking on Jacksonville. I think most people are most excited about that game. So we'll ask him the real scenario, I think, and maybe he thinks we're crazy outside of Buffalo.
Mina Kimes thinks we're crazy. I saw her
the real
post
scenario
yesterday.
where Sean McDermott, could he lose his job. And maybe Mike's about to tell us that, like, no, not happening. But there also is still the legacy discussion, as we all agree, I think, about Josh Allen and that aspect of it. Even though he has been great in the postseason, we all know, can he get over the hump? There will still, even if he were to win a Super Bowl, I think there would still be people that would say, well, yeah, but he didn't have to beat Mahomes. That's just the way sports narratives work. On one hand, it's like, well, you didn't win with those guys not around. But then some people will say, well, he didn't beat Mahomes, so it doesn't count. Like, I'm just telling you, that'll be the take from some people. Like, well, he has to prove that he can beat Mahomes still.
Yeah, there might be some of that. And look, I just disagree. I've seen, like I mentioned, Mina Kimes and others discussing him and saying, like, no, he's not under more pressure to win just because Mahomes isn't in. I'm like, are you serious?
I think
How can he not be? He's under pressure anyway, because you only get so many years and actual attempts to win a Super Bowl anyway. And this happens to be a year in which the person who has directly stood in your way is not there.
Yeah. Now you're on the road throughout the postseason.
Well, that's your
you're not a
fault,
division.
too.
You're not a division champ this go around, and we had our next guest on much earlier into the season, and maybe I was on his show. We were talking about the number 1 seed heading into this year, and I think I even made the comment on his show, and I was like, if it's not this year for the number 1 seed, then when the hell is it going to be? The schedule we thought was going to be very easy. Turns out the Patriots are really good, and that changed everything. Plus the Bills. But let's talk more about Buffalo with Mike Schoop from WGR 550. We've had, as I said, Mike on over the years. Mike, we were just saying how usually we're on with you talking about a big matchup with the Chiefs and the Bills in the postseason. The Chiefs did not hold up their end of the bargain, to say the least. We're talking about offseason stuff. We're talking about off-field issues. It's not any fun, I'll be honest. What's the conversation like in Buffalo? Is it stressful? Is there all sorts of pressure? Because we certainly think that Josh Allen, certainly has to kind of get over the hump this year.
I want to ask this question to you guys first. It's a little bit fun, isn't it? Like, we did 17 years in a row without a playoff team, and I would kind of look forward to the elimination date, but maybe when you're Kansas City, it's not like that. I think as a host, it's a little bit fun, but I will answer your question. I wonder if you think that, though.
I think it's not different. It's not fun, but the off-season discussions are going to be different than what we've had for years. And that makes it interesting and maybe more exciting. But I don't. It's not fun knowing that the Chiefs aren't part of the party this weekend. That's for sure.
No, of course. But I always sort of welcomed that not unique, but different sort of conversation you could have, and maybe you guys do that too. I don't know what to do with the Allen postseason narrative stuff. I mean, unlike maybe every top-tier quarterback in history, his playoff numbers are really good. Like, he's not the reason. It's hard. It's a strain to construct an argument that he's the reason they lost any of these games. Even Cincinnati, which was 27-10, and that team went through DeMar Hamlin, and I don't know. Like, it's a little bit of an effort to make that argument. So we'll see what happens Sunday. Like, it's Jacksonville. I mean, no offense to them, but this is the team, one of the teams in the AFC that, what will it sound like if the Bills lose to, quote, Jacksonville in the first round after all the success they've had? They had the New England experience this year. That's, whatever. Like, it's been a pretty easy division for a long time. But I'm sure whenever this plays out, we'll all talk about Josh Allen and what he is based on what happens, and a lot of that will be beyond his control.
I'm in no way, and I wouldn't argue with you in any way, that for the most part, Josh Allen has not been the problem in the postseason. I think that's why I view it as he has more pressure than he's ever had, because he is the best quarterback in the playoffs by a pretty wide margin. The one guy who has stood in his ways, not in it, so he doesn't have to worry about that hanging over his head. It just seems like, unfortunately for them, this is not one of their better teams. Like, when you look at them versus other years, where are they? Because I don't think they're quite as good defensively, and I think they rely a lot on Cook being good in an individual game to move the ball offensively the way that they had in previous years without needing Cook to be that good. Where are they as a team compared to some of these years where Josh Allen almost made a Super Bowl, but Mahomes stood in his way?
Well, you're right. It's tough for me to think that James Cook needs to pop or else they're going to lose. But that's what they've built the last 2 years. I mean, Cook went for 100 yards a game. He won the rushing title. That's not a cheap list It's not like a batting title in baseball where you have these random names. Like you could name all the rushing title winners or champions in NFL history. So, yeah, I mean, the pressure, though, I don't know. I'm not in his head. You know, Cody, like, I don't know what he really feels. I do know that last year he got sacked 14 times, and this year he was sacked 40 times.
Wow.
Like, it was a different season for him. He's coming up on 30. I mean, some of the stuff I listen to is, oh, he got married. Oh, he's having a baby. Like, it's sort of like that. Maybe you went through this with Mahomes, like sort of the narrative stuff that you really don't know what to do with it. But, yeah, like he has taken a beating this year, and usually with the Bills, and a couple of times they've really had to push their way into the playoffs, when it gets late, he runs more. I like his over rushing prop this week because, I mean, Mahomes went for 60 yards on the ground against Jacksonville. Nobody in the league went for 75 the whole season against Jacksonville. Mahomes went for 60 in week 5. So I kind of like that for Allen this week. But like you guys were talking about before I came on, he's got to win 3 road games. I in no way think that's easier than what he's had to face in the past, no matter who else is in the tournament.
We're talking to Mike Schoop, WGR 550 in Buffalo. When you talk about Sean McDermott, I know we've asked you over the last year or two in particular, just kind of what the feeling in Buffalo is with him. We know that Harbaugh's out there now as well. There's rumors and speculation about, is he waiting for one of these playoff teams to lose to see if they move on from their coach? What's the feeling in Buffalo about the job security of Sean McDermott if they were to lose to Jacksonville this weekend?
There has been a little hive of fans, maybe not that little, it probably is building over the years, that whenever the Bills do lose, they want to talk about Sean McDermott and his value. And, I mean, quintessentially, that's 13 seconds. That's 5 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago, when that 21 season. When that happened, and that cloud has been hanging over that conversation or him the whole time. Like, that was the best look at it. But, yeah, we're going to have, if the Bills lose to a team that they're favored to beat by 1 point on Sunday, then it's the Jaguars who wear teal. Then we're going to hear about, like, whether Sean McDermott should be replaced for a long time. It'll be insufferable. It's a valid criticism or opinion, I think. I think the more realistic possibility, by the way, is that there's a change at GM, because we have been arguing the whole year or 2 years about whether they have enough talent around Allen. And both the Chiefs and the Bills have made their respective efforts at surrounding him with receivers and talent. I mean, both teams are interesting for this. But, Alex, I mean, in the last month, we're now sitting Brandon Cooks in Week 18 because he's too valuable to risk getting hurt. And, like, McCole Hardman 3 weeks ago was, a version of that. It's crazy. Keon Coleman, the first pick of the second round last year, probably sits in this game. So we had the GM of the Bills call our station the morning after the draft and blast off on us because we were obsessed with wide receiver. Like, that's really been the crux of a lot of the analysis of the Bills for a couple of years. And I think if this is a game, like a lot of Bills games this year have looked, where Allen is under duress for much of the day and he's taking a beating physically, Jacksonville is good like that, then I think if they lose, that's what we're doing the next 2-3 weeks or longer. And hopefully you guys will pray for me or send me food.
We might have to based on that. But, like, I get, like, the McDermott stuff makes sense to me based on what you said earlier. If you're saying, and I think you're right, it is really hard to look on paper and watch a football game and say, well, Josh Allen cost him that playoff game. No, but I can watch some playoff games and say that Sean McDermott hurt him. And they're in a weird spot where, like, you can definitely do worse than Sean McDermott, is my opinion of what Buffalo's head coaching situation can be. You can make a worse decision where he is, but it also feels like he's just like a half step back from some of the elite guys he's gotten past. But I guess some of this is, and you've covered the league a long time and you've covered the Bills a long time. Some of this goes by the idea. Do you realize there's only like 4 active quarterbacks who start for an NFL team that actually have a Super Bowl? And I think that's the part that people are still having a hard time waiting for that next crop than is it Mahomes or somebody else to win one? And Allen just felt like the logical thing, especially considering where they were. And so, like, if he doesn't get one, if McDermott can't get him there, at least to the game, eventually he'll just have to get canned.
Well, it's a little bit too obvious, you know. Like, you're right about all that. McDermott is he came up through defense, so he's not exactly directly correlated to Allen. I think, like, at the risk of sounding like I've been copping out, I need to see this game first. Like, if this is another game, last year's Chiefs were so, I want to be nice about this, like they struggled so badly on offense all year. Then the AFC Championship arrived, and it was easy.
Yeah.
It was juju. It was like 32 points. What's the problem? And then they went to the Super Bowl, and it was back to their reality. And for me, the number one issue the Bills have had in not getting through, and this is not to slight Mahomes or even Burrow, is that they have not been able to get off the field on defense. And I have said all year, if that game happens again, no matter who they play, now I'm there when it comes to McDermott. But Allen has slowly compiled a small list of games where, in the end, something weirdly goes wrong that probably Sean has nothing to do with.
Yeah.
Even 2 weeks ago against Philadelphia, there it is. There's the play. Khalil Shakir, 2 points, win the game. It's way off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can you blame McDermott for that loss? Right? So, I don't know. It depends on the details of this game. Last year in Kansas City, it's 4th and short. It's midfield, 2-minute warning. Spagnuolo draws up a blitz. Allen's not prepared for it. He jumps into the fire. He heaves a pass for his talent. I mean, of course, it's amazing. Kincaid drops it, and what do you do with that? They gave up 32 points. It's a drop pass, but, like, what is he really doing there? And how come he goes left on every sneak? And so this is what makes sports talk beautiful and football talk beautiful, because it's just like you can talk all the time, and quarterback narratives are sort of, it's what helps fuel the popularity of the league. We talk all the time about what these games mean to each guy and what they say about them, and you never really get to the answer.
Do you think that, like, nationally, we knew that everybody had started rooting against, obviously, Kansas City, and we didn't blame them for that. That's the natural progression of things. Where do you think the national fan base is on the Bills? Do you think they want to see Josh Allen win?
Oh, that's a good question. What do you think?
So in Kansas City, the answer is no, because we don't want to. I think most Kansas Cityans don't want to deal with, like, the national narrative of Josh Allen has passed Mahomes and the stuff that comes with it. But outside of that, Josh Allen's a very likable dude. So, like, my guess is that the rest people nationally would probably have no problem with the Bills who haven't won a Super Bowl winning it.
Yeah, I like that. I think Allen is maybe a next generation's Manning in this way, where again, the difference is Manning went to Belichick in the playoffs multiple times and got buried. And you had to sort of point to him and try to explain what was happening there. But, you know what Manning is, like, Allen is a version of that. I think popularity is personality, and Buffalo is an underdog town. They've never won it. We've never won it. And so I want to think that there are other neutrals who would support the Bills, but it's still too early. Like, it's the wild card. You have to beat Jacksonville. Nobody cares about Jacksonville. Like, you have to beat them. Go to Denver. Then there's a conversation about, all right, well, now you've got Super Bowl winning coaches in the AFC playoffs, if not quarterbacks. I'd love to check back on this, because I want to think that Allen is sort of a popular national figure, and that sort of Buffalo as an underdog rates as this, but I don't really know. Like, I'm too inside.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to if we end up getting, you're right, if we get a Denver Buffalo matchup or something like that, how will the nation kind of be split on who they're going to be pulling for in that. Before we let you go, Mike, we appreciate you calling in. I have to ask, because the text line is asking multiple times. They want to know, were you just at a really long light, or do you have your hazards on?
I thought to turn my signal off about halfway through this conversation. I'm on my way to the station for today's show, and I'm parked along on a sidewalk basically. And I thought, you know what, this is probably audible, so I turned that off. But I'm literally parked next to a cemetery, just outside of Buffalo.
That seems like a bleak thing to do while talking Bills. I don't know why.
It's just how. Hey, listen, that's funny. It's just how it landed.
Mike, appreciate it, man. Enjoy the game this weekend.
Okay, thanks, guys.
There
Always
you
a
go.
pleasure.
Absolutely. That's Mike Schoop, our friend up in Buffalo, our sister station, WGR 550. It's the Jags, I think the way he was talking about Jacksonville as well is probably how we all have perceived them. And this is why I guess Jacksonville's dangerous, which is it's just, and I don't disagree with him. Like, it's Jacksonville. You can't lose to Jacksonville. But
it's hard to take a team like Jags on their
now the
brand
Bills
serious.
I don't think that Sean McDermott and Josh Allen aren't taking them seriously. And if they aren't, then they're in big trouble.
They are.
I think they are. But I get it from a fan base. I think we'd be saying the same thing. If the Chiefs were playing Jacksonville.
I think we did say the same thing when they played Jacksonville like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, take this year out of it. I'm just like, go back a couple years ago. Like, they're a franchise that's hard to take seriously, but this is not the same Jags.
It'd be the same as Jags, Jets. There's probably like 5 to 7 teams that when you say their name, it exudes no juice, right? As a franchise. And the Jags are one of those teams. And so.
Is that one of those things that, just curious, because I wasn't here, when the Bengals were in the playoffs for that first time, it's like, that's the Bengals. They haven't won a playoff game
what's funny is like
decades.
They only briefly changed that for me, and now I'm back to the same thing because like it's been a franchise that has been bad for so long.
Yeah,
it's
seeing them in the playoffs is weird, like Jacksonville.
Yeah, absolutely. Cincinnati was that kind of franchise for a long time. Maybe different, a little bit different now because they've made a run at a couple of things. And they got a quarterback.
Since he was, when the Chiefs played Cleveland, I mean, when you play these wild card teams that don't have a ton of history in the postseason at the time,
Jets,
it's
Cleveland,
harder to take
Panthers,
seriously.
Jags. There might be 10 teams like that just like it's hard to get up for as a fan base just because it's. And that's what might get McDermott fired. This idea of you lost to the Jags, and the Jags are a really good team.
They are, but in the text line is correct on this, though. The difference also is like the Chiefs had already won. Like the Bills have not even been to a Super Bowl, though. Yeah. So how can they treat? How can
they treat other franchises like that? It's fair. They've also like had less long runs of complete ineptitude versus some of these other franchises that just go year in, year out. So
we've talked about it. You asked me the question about like who's likable. I do think I never understand like the real hate towards Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I think he's a very likable figure.
Same.
Now, I still, to what you said, and why I don't want them ultimately to win a Super Bowl, sorry, Mike, is I am not up for the nauseating conversation the entire offseason about that one ring for Allen means he's better than Patrick Mahomes, and it'll drive me crazy. I'll admit, like, it's a personal thing. It'll drive me personally crazy, and I don't want to deal with it selfishly.
Random question.
Random question today brought to you by Kansas City Urology Care at KCUC. Remember, you see the best in KC. Visit kcurology.com today. For you, Gold, you, Drew, text line 913-586-7965. YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. Live stream the show, send out video content on YouTube and some of those other platforms as well. So if you want to give us a follow over there, pop to the top of your feed. Random question today is actually sports adjacent.
All right.
It is about your enjoyment of watching sports. Peacock is apparently looking at adding what they're calling is enhancements that will allow fans to control certain parts of the broadcast. So the question I have for you is whether or not this is something you would employ. The two things they highlight in this article are you could raise or lower the crowd volume. So like you want to make it seem like there's more crowd sound as a part of your broadcast, raising or lowering the volume of the broadcast announcer, or getting rid of them entirely. So like,
can I just mute one? Make it seem like Jim Nance is talking to himself.
They did not say that in the article. Okay. That might be plausible. So the question is, would you use it? Because they said some people might want to consume it where they don't have to hear the broadcaster. It's just like the natural sound element. I guess your way of like, I'm not at the game, but it feels like I'm at the game, where I don't hear a commentator, but I'm just watching football on my own, observing things on my own. But they also said some people don't like the crowd noise and they think it distracts from the broadcasters themselves. And they want to be able to just watch football and hear the commentary, and are suggesting they would turn it down. Who's turning off the crowd noise? Make it seem, weird. I mean, that just feels like it's not
What are you watching, film? You want no crowd noise, no announcers? I mean, I could see somebody maybe muting the announcer, which, by the way, like, you can already do. I can turn the, like, I know I
can mute it if I want.
I get what you're saying, which is like, you don't want the announcers, but you still want to hear the crowd noise. But in general, like,
that one I would choose over the other.
Yeah, but there's plenty of people listening that I know for a fact that they mute the TV broadcast and they just listen to Danan, Mitch, and Kling, and have 96.5 The Fan up. I'm serious. Like, that's not me just plugging it. Like, I know for a fact people do that. So
if that happened, I think if you had that option as a scroll down, I imagine that would get used frequently.
Sure. And there's
like people would choose the home broadcast.
Is it just crowd noise, or is it like the action on the field? Like,
that's part of it. That's part of it.
I mean, it would be you'd hear like when the offensive line and defensive line are going, you'd be hearing like that noise when they snap the ball.
I will say,
it would be kind of weird to watch the first one, but I think I kind of like it. The broadcast with no announcers.
I think it would be interesting to see how it sounds. Yes, I agree.
I like having
I like it, but
some announcers are certainly better, but I still like having the announcers. I'll say though, some of the broadcast networks definitely mess with the crowd volume more than others. And so NFL Network, and my opinion on Rich Eisen, I think he's unbelievable studio host, pretty damn good sports talk host as well. I think he's terrible at play-by-play. And when he does play-by-play for NFL Network, it doesn't help him when they also have the crowd volume so low. That Chargers game that they just had on Saturday.
Games.
No, well, those, but they just had he just called the Chargers and whoever like 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe. And I think it was the Chargers. It was a Saturday, and there was maybe there was with Kurt Warner, yep. And maybe there wasn't much energy in the building, but the crowd volume was so low, and it made the play-by-play of his even worse than what I think it already is. So I would, I guess, raise the crowd volume in that circumstance.
I think weirdly enough, for our jobs, the one thing that I think would, like, if we all had to collectively watch one Chiefs game, I wish we all had to collectively watch one Chiefs game in which there were no announcers. Because what I think happens sometimes is we allow the groupthink part of the things that they are saying on it have an influence. So, like, when I go to the game as either a fan or as a media member, and I'm not listening to the broadcast, and I'm instead observing what I'm seeing and coming to my own conclusions. And this applies to social media too, right? Obviously, where people are sharing ideas.
Well,
and
we
thoughts.
know this when
it's like if you just had to consume one game and only wrote things on your own, and what you notice with no announcer, no social media, I think you might come up with a different answer every once in a while. So
we know this because
from that perspective,
we have a Google Doc during the show or during the games when we prep for the show, and there's a lot of times, Cody, I'm in the press box and you're watching at home on TV, and there's certain things that you hear that I don't, and it's a different perspective than what I have the perspective of in the press box, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So totally. And if you go as a fan, you have a different feel about a potential play that everybody at home on social media are all pissed off about a replay review, and you're in the stadium, you're like, no, I actually thought it was the right call. And you're like, what is everybody all upset about? That has happened to me numerous times.
Oh, dude, we had one earlier this year where I was like, they're saying that maybe they could have challenged this play and not, and you're like, they can challenge that?
Like, what?
I was like, I don't know, that's what the broadcasters are saying. It's when you realize that sometimes they don't have all the answers either. Like, for instance, the broadcasters in the final Week 18 game of the Chiefs spent an absorbent amount of time talking about how much the Chiefs tell them they love Brashard Smith. They don't love him that much. They played him never. So, like, they can say whatever they want to you. The same as they've said they've loved every player that's ever existed. So, like, sometimes this groupthink thing is like, you as a fan, and this is not anybody, like 200 fans all hear the broadcast keep saying they love Brashard Smith. And then we have to spend an offseason saying he can't be a starter. And they're like, why? The Chiefs love him. And I'm like, they don't. They didn't play him, and there's outside of this. I would like it for a game, or what I think it might be important for is like I think it's better in a casual sense more than how we watch it, which is, let's say you got the game on, and everybody's going to we're going to eat and drink and talk, and the game's going to be on the background. If you muted the announcers at that point and it was just a football with crowd noise, not the worst.
Yeah.
Not the worst. But the play-by-play element can add juice. A great call. We played the one for the missed field goal at the end of the Steelers game. That added.
Mike Tirico had a great
Mike
call.
Tirico, that made. If I didn't have that moment feels better because Tirico, doesn't it?
For sure.
The final play of the regular season for the final spot in the playoffs. Tyler Luke from 44. Snap good. Hold it. The kick is no good.
Imagine if you didn't have that. And you were just watching it in silence on your TV. It would not have had the same vibe at all.
Just the crowd. Ah! You're like,
So, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting idea from Peacock. I'll say that. I don't think I will utilize that feature.
Texan says, can I mute the rules guy? Now we're talking.
Those guys stink. They're worthless.
Now
they really are. Like, I'm
talking.
sorry. Like, on the broadcast, they have a worthless role.
Yes.
They don't. It's terrible. We do not need the rules analyst during the broadcast at all.
Somebody
Just
mentioned,
don't.
and I'm curious because I don't have NFL Sunday Ticket, never had it. Somebody mentioned no commercials. With NBA League Pass, you can do in arena where you see all of the things they do, and there are absolutely no commercials. Does NFL Sunday Ticket offer anything like that? Or
I know NBA definitely, like you said.
League Pass is great because of that.
Yeah, you can see the random PA, like the in-game, like
in-game
announcer
shot,
stuff.
You see halftime show, all of it.
Yeah, that's something I think
But
only
they don't
the
really
NBA.
do that in football. They don't like, Red
Yeah,
Panda
there's no,
doesn't come out and spin plates, dude, at the halftime of the Chiefs
There's
game.
no like a T-shirt gun that they shoot out in the stands.
They don't do that. That's not a part of an NBA game. Major League Baseball it is, but or NFL. That's not part of an NFL broadcast. That's not a knock on Red Panda.
Drew wants to see the kiss cam whenever he can, at a baseball game from his TV.
So we can give Carrington a hard time.
Unbelievable. Still, we didn't spend enough time on the show talking about
I
Carrington.
think
trying
Bink
to
would
get
be
a kiss
for
in
it
the
as
kiss
well
cam and get
because
shut down.
Bink wants the halftime show at the Super Bowl to be the dogs catching the frisbees.
Yeah, I know that's ridiculous.
I don't know if you. I don't think
Cody
you were
was
here for
gone
that,
that
Cody.
day.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Bink doesn't like concerts for halftime shows. He wants dogs catching frisbees at the Super Bowl halftime
And look,
show instead.
I love dogs. In fact, I'm looking out the window behind Cody, and I believe one of our sister station must have. I don't want to say which one of the local animal shelters must be here because it says dog trainer and dogs or whatever. So we're looking over.
I want to pet a dog.
Dogs are great. During the break, I might go out there to see. I love dogs. All right, up next though, let's talk more about what is going on the Royals Stadium front. Now you've got the Clay County Commissioner, one of them saying that perhaps he's done talking to the Royals. What does it actually mean? Next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Caesars Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesars rewards. Bet on gridiron action and earn perks on every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code Radio250BM and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250, whether you win or lose. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Missouri. Open to new users only. Minimum odds, -500. Awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more, designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice real improvements, more energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Feature therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Do it, Drew. On stream. Start doing it.
I will not do it.
Do
on
it.
stream.
You can do it tomorrow in the Hooters outfit instead.
No.
You sure?
No, legitimately. If you want me to whip in Nene tomorrow, I will in the Hooters outfit. I will whip in Nene.
Okay. 1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody
I can't
Tab,
whip or Nene.
Drew Nixon.
What do you mean, what?
Why don't you give it a try? Why don't you stand
Drew,
up?
first off, this wasn't the stuff that everybody danced to when, like high school dance.
But you're familiar with it.
Yes, but in high school dances, the ones that were like the dances that everybody did at the same time, were still like, look, I'm quite a bit older than you.
Grinding.
It was still like the like if you're doing a group dance, it was still like the electric slide or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, we pretty much just.
But it wasn't even that, Cody. It was just grinding the entire time. That's all it was in junior high and high school.
Yeah,
That's all it was. I don't even. What do they even do at? What the hell do they even do at high school dances now?
Do you ever realize what a weird moment that must have been for all the adults in the room? You just got to sit here for 2 hours while a bunch of 17-year-olds grind up on each other? I mean,
that's all it was. That's all it was.
God. Like, this is what you signed up for? And they didn't even have any, like,
I don't remember. Macarena.
I remember zero.
That's what Cody was doing.
I remember zero policing of it. Like, none.
I don't believe
remember
that's
them trying
allowed.
to
I don't
stop
believe that's
anybody.
allowed anymore. I honestly don't know what they do at a high school dance.
I once did an entire choreographed dance to that, the one where they're like puppets, the Backstreet Boys song that they're puppets.
Okay.
I did a choreographed dance hit with a group of people once at a high school dance. I got that going.
Now watch me whip. Watch me Nene.
I just
watch
said
me do.
Yeah, I know the song. I'm saying I can't. I also can't Dougie. You gonna teach me?
I think
the song says it's gonna teach me, but yet I can't.
Teach me how to
Dougie. I think is a little bit hard. It's harder than the whip or the Nene.
Okay, good to know. I've been known to dance at a wedding at time to time.
Yeah.
Not as much these days.
So we got another little update on the stadium front. So we know the Chiefs are going to Kansas. We know the Royals are still trying to figure out what they want to do. And in the last couple of days, you've had the Speaker of the Kansas House come out and say, yeah, we're done talking to the Royals. Like, it's deal passed, deadline passed, deal's done. We're not doing it. Then yesterday, you had Jason Withington, who is one of 7 Clay County commissioners. We've had Jason on the show a couple times over the last few years. He posted on his Facebook page, and he started just talking about like how much he loves baseball and talked about, over the last few years, he said, the joy has been drained out of it for me. I absolutely loathe the business of baseball. And since I'm always talking about being real, let me keep it 100. He didn't say that. No, he said, let me be 100. Like Kansas, I'm done negotiating with the Kansas City Royals. Last year, we were told the team wanted to be on the November 2025 ballot. We worked in good faith all summer to make that happen. As the August deadline approached, we were then told they wanted to move to the April 2026 ballot at the earliest.
So this would be the earliest.
Tomorrow, and this was posted last night. So today was the deadline we gave the team to meet that timeline. They've now told us they aren't ready for that either. At some point, you stop negotiating and start being honest about what's actually happening. For me, the Royals situation in Clay County is now a closed chapter. It's time for the commission to focus fully on priorities we control, either upgrading our existing county jail or building a new one. Again, he is one of 7. It's not the end-all, be-all, but do others on the committee feel the same, or the commission feel the same?
My guess is no, or at least not all. I don't think he speaks for the entirety of the group. I get it, but also they told you at the earliest they would be ready for the April ballot. So they're not ready for it. That to me is not misleading. That is saying that is us knowing at the earliest we do there. Here's the problem with Clay County is that they're not the first choice. They have never been the first choice. They are a backup plan. I still think to this day are a backup plan. And sometimes these counties, or at least this county commissioner in particular, doesn't like being second fiddle. And I understand that. You got pride in your county. You want to bring things to it. But you also, like, Kansas was once second fiddle in the sports arena, and they made themselves first choice by ponying up the dough to get the Chiefs over there. Because, and again, I say that because the Chiefs did try technically, although I think they sabotaged that vote, they did try technically to stay in Jackson County and in Missouri. So, like, sometimes when you're the underdog, you have to Bide your time. Play it slow. Be smart and plotting and careful with it. And I think that what is being lost here, and that is like, it takes patience. And it's been 2 years, and I get being tired of it because we're tired of talking about it in a lot of ways. But I also just don't think it doesn't mean they're not going to Clay County. I still think there's a chance they go to Clay County. I still think there's a chance they go to Kansas. I still think it's most likely they stay in Jackson County, but I'm not ruling out any of the possible options right now. Hell, I probably got to put 5% on they just sell the team and they go somewhere else, even though I don't think that's happening.
We know there was a lot of noise that prior to the Chiefs' announcement in Kansas that the Royals were very close to a deal. And then suddenly the Chiefs got the deal announced first. And I still think some of what happened is the state of Kansas was trying to get a team, so they were going after both. And then now there's been increased.
And the Royals moved too slow.
There's now been the Royals moved too slow, and now there's been increased backlash towards politicians. It's mainly politicians also that are on the other side of the state of Kansas, like in not on the eastern side, where of course the stadium would be, and about using taxpayer money for the stadiums. And we're not going to, but we can debate all we want about the Star Bond District and is it going to be diverting resources or not diverting resources? Is it taking money from whatever, increasing taxes? Wrong show for that discussion necessarily.
Yeah.
But there's certainly a lot of pressure and people that are talking about it more than ever. And are they prepared to, in an election year for a lot of those representatives, are they prepared to then do the same thing for the Royals? And I think that is part of the problem, other than the Royals themselves not making up their damn mind on what they want to do. Like, as much as 2 Aprils ago, I do think Jackson County, the county, definitely screwed things up for them, okay? And I'm not talking about the voters. I'm talking literally, the of course, Frank White and the county executive.
Yeah.
But now this feels like the Royals can't make up their mind on what they want, Cody.
Look,
where do you want to go? They're telling Clay County that we're not ready for an April vote. Does that mean you're not ready because you
don't know where you want to go?
You don't know you want to go. You're not ready because you think you still have something with Kansas. You're not ready because now talks with Missouri, with KC Mo are getting better. What is it? They have not made up their mind, and they're sitting out here, and some of the better deals might not be out there anymore for them.
I understand that these things take some time. I'm not trying to pretend like stadium deals get put together overnight. They had 2 full years to get something back in Jackson County, to get something in Clay County, or to get something done with Kansas. I'm sorry, you moved too slow. Way too slow. Because in that same amount of time, the Chiefs just got like $6 trillion from the state of Kansas. So, like, they managed to figure it out. Not way sooner, right? It was only a couple of weeks ago. It's not like they're way ahead of your timeline. But they managed to get it done in the amount of time you haven't managed to get it done. The truth is what I think happened here is, once the dream, what they felt like the dream died, they wanted downtown baseball. They had it on a ballot. They had a site, a stadium plan they loved. They were on it. And the Royals the Chiefs sabotaged them in some ways because their plan wasn't nearly as good. And the city sabotaged them a little bit by making them move sites instead of going to the preferred site, I think, in the East Village. And so they got hurt a little bit by that. But since then, they've just been instead seeking out the perfect fit. They're like Goldilocksing this city slowly, trying to figure out the dream scenario that fits the most check marks. And it seems like it's a 200-point checklist of things we want for a new Royals site. And they've just been going back and forth, being like, well, this one has 147, and this one has 151, but let's go back to this one. I think we can get it to 154. And because of that, they might have lost out on Kansas. Now, here's the truth. I don't think Kansas is actually out of the running yet completely. I don't think Clay County is completely out of the running because one county commissioner, to me, in this letter is essentially just encouraging the other ones to put it to bed for now. And he's tired of the way these deals work out or the way this process works out. I'd be borderline to just say it's like third. But I think it's like 60% they still end up in Jackson County, 20 they end up in Clay, 20 they end up in Kansas. But they got to get on it. If they really do want to be out of the Truman Sports Complex, and let's say they don't stay in Jackson County, well, they're not going to let you stay till 2031. The Royals, as much as they said, will be out by 2030. If they're building in Jackson County a downtown stadium and they got to get to 2031,
for sure,
they'll let them stay.
Yeah, if you're staying in the same county in the same
But if you're
city,
going to Clay County,
who knows?
They're going to tell you to kick rocks, or maybe they generously give you a year. Maybe you're playing baseball, Lawrence. Like the kind of thing
I don't know about that, but yeah, I hear you. I mean, this has been an ongoing discussion. We still know the original desire of John Sherman was what?
Downtown
baseball. Yeah. And they also were fond of the Battery in Atlanta, the development around that.
Which was
and
more,
the revenue
more like the Knoll site, yeah.
Right. And they have more room on 119th and Knoll than the Washington Square Park site. But is there a chance that East Village comes back into play, or is that completely done? These are what's crazy is we're back, not to square one, but we're certainly discussing the same sites all over again. And I think at this point, there's been a lot of blame to go around right now, Cody. At least with if you kind of can read between the lines a little bit of what the Kansas Speaker of the House said, and then now even if it's just one Clay County commissioner and not the entire commission saying it. This feels like now it is definitely on the Royals. And they always were part of. They were always part of it. But but I mean, the fact that a decision hasn't been made and it feels like they're the biggest holdup now. Before there was plenty of blame to go around on why this hasn't been resolved. This feels like it's far more on them, and an inability to make a decision for whatever reason.
They're gonna have to push. I mean, really push. And find new roles and figure out how to get this thing done. I will say the one good thing that I think helps Jackson County and helps Missouri a little based in this case is the only people who are constantly saying, "We love you, please come back," is Mayor Q and Jackson County. They're the only people who are, everyone else is like, "I don't know." And it's one person in Clay County who's saying that. He doesn't speak for every person in Clay County. It's not even just the county commissioners who make those decisions. It's so many other people, like the mayor of North Kansas City and 1,000 other people. But he is that group of people, the city council, him, the city, they're at least still, as a unit, still being like, come on, please.
But we get back to the same thing, which is the public vote aspect. And I know there was, I think it was the Kansas City Star that had two different people in Missouri speak recently that said they don't need a public vote. But again, that is up for debate. I think that some people suggest that they would need one. Some people suggest they wouldn't. But it's just, I think the Royals suddenly find themselves in almost a worse spot than they were 6 months ago, Cody. I think they're in a worse spot now than they were 6 months ago. Because of just if it's true that some of the doors are at least closing, maybe not fully closed and locked, but some of the doors appear to be closing on them.
If they have to get to a vote in either Clay or Jackson County, they have to get on the November ballot. Have to.
Well, yeah, April's not happening.
But the problem is, that's a midterm. They're trying to avoid that. That's part of the problem the other time. You get too many people out to vote. You weirdly want less people in some ways. And it depends. I don't know what their people are saying about who would approve what this time around. Sometimes you want less people, sometimes you want more. But you're going to get lost in a wave of a lot of other voting if you get on a November ballot. But how much longer can they take? How much time can they take? Now the text line's over here talking about Winnetonka.
Your high school days.
Well, Jason Withington, who is the Clay County Commissioner, went to Winnetonka, so did I.
Yeah.
And there was recently a teacher charged with some pretty...
Oh, really?
He apparently allegedly sold 3D printed machine guns.
Some former student?
A teacher, an active teacher.
Oh, okay.
Or administrator or something.
All right.
Employed.
Okay. I did not know that.
Someone said, "Nice, Cody." What do you think? I speak for everybody who ever went to the school I went to?
Yeah, you do. You speak for all of Winnetonka.
Don't make me go dig up just the one person who did something awful from all the high schools everybody went to.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, I don't think.
I've already told you I went to school with multiple murderers.
What a weird thing to just consistently say over the years of the show.
I know.
You sounded proud.
No,
you sounded
honestly,
way too proud.
it's just weird because I spent a fair amount of time with those people, and at no point would I have assumed
murderer.
Yeah, that part makes me feel like I had bad judgment or something.
Huh?
I haven't hung out with any murderers since. I don't think. That I know of.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
How about that?
There you go.
Someone says, I'll follow Cody's advice and not vote on stuff. That's not what I said.
Yeah, Cody definitely said
voted
that.
every single election.
Cody definitely said that.
I voted in the small ones. I had one thing to vote on the last time in Clay County. No, it was for a school board member.
It doesn't have to just be general election.
Yeah.
Or presidential election.
Always vote. But, the Royals didn't want this to get to a vote, and now they might end up being stuck in that situation. So we'll see.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll get to what's trending. And also earlier today, we had our conversation with Danan Hughes. We asked him, what does he think they need in an offensive coordinator? This is a guy that played in the league, that's been around this organization for a while. What do they actually need? And his thoughts on, the idea of, the running back priority, wide receiver priority compared to defensive line in the draft? And does the Rashee Rice allegations that are out there change how you have to proceed moving forward when it comes to the draft? But think about the Chiefs. We've known most of the schedule for a while, and we knew it. We could have told you back in October. Most of the schedule, everybody thinks that because you finished third, your schedule is going to be so easy the next year. It's only really swinging like 3 or 4 games by being a third-place schedule for the most part, right? There's only so much up in the air.
Not even going to do that for Kansas City.
The Chiefs' schedule right now, and this is just off of this year win percentage, and as we all saw play out, crazy stuff happens. You would have thought nobody would have thought the Jags would have been at the position maybe they were this year, or some of these teams that fell off. Nobody would have thought the Chiefs and Lions and Ravens all were going to miss the postseason. So bleep happens. But right now, they're set up for the 5th toughest schedule next year already, based off of this year's win percentage.
It's so stupid. It's unfair.
Ridiculous.
This life's unfair. Look, here's the truth. The reason why is because they're playing the AFC East, and that has 2 teams actively in the playoffs right now. They also happen to be playing the NFC West.
Yeah, whoops.
Who was the best division in all of football. Now, look, you could hope that like Sam Darnold leaving makes the offense fall apart for McDonald or something in Seattle, and
He's
maybe
leaving?
worse. No, Clint Kubiak might.
Oh, you said Sam Darnold. And I was
I'm
like,
sorry,
what?
Sorry. I said Clint Kubiak
not going
maybe
anywhere.
makes Sam Darnold worse.
For sure.
Maybe
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Maybe Stafford retires and we're just having a different
That could happen.
conversation.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe the NFC West one lightens up. But as it sits right now, they have as hard of a schedule as almost any team in the league. Hell, Drew's team has the 2nd easiest in Cincinnati.
Well, look at the division and how many wins there were in that division.
Yeah, well, I mean, not a lot of teams with double-digit wins or none.
But that's one of those where I
whatever.
could see it bouncing back. Like you could still see a scenario where the Ravens bounce back next year, and that the Steelers are still where they've always been, and you could see, you know what I mean? Like
that division winner will probably be up to 11 games again. Or 12,
I think the
maybe.
challenge here is that the biggest challenge with the Chiefs' schedule right now is I don't foresee the Broncos not being a competitive football team or the Chargers not being a competitive football team. Let's take away the 14 wins or 13 wins or 11 wins. You know, like I know the Chargers got 11 in the Broncos. Don't forget the
they're
win
in the
total.
9 to 10 range for sure at minimum.
Those are salty NFL football teams and will be salty NFL football teams again next year. Like I can make up a scenario to make some of the NFC West teams easier hypothetically. I can't really make up a scenario for the Bills or the Patriots to be easier. Those are just teams you're going to have to face. Now, the only thing that makes it more challenging is if the Raiders get off their ass or the Jets get off their ass, and they won't because they're losing
they
franchises.
find the right quarterback is the key.
Yeah, and then they'll be more competitive, but they've still got so many other roster problems. The truth is, if you thought Kansas City, because they finished 6-11, was going to get the schedule pass, they're not. They're going to have to go through the same difficult schedule they've been going for years and find a way to balance that out based off of it. You do realize that not a single AFC conference winner is the same as the winner from last year. So, like, these divisions already flipped anyway. A third-place schedule doesn't guarantee you anything.
Yeah, there's a chance their third-place schedule could end up being all the division winners for next year.
I think all 6 division... Did all 6 division winners in football change hands this year? It did in the West, East, and North, and it did in the South. So all 4 in the AFC switched. The West is a different winner because
the Eagles would be the only one. The Eagles won the NFC East. First time an NFC East champion back-to-backs in 20-something years.
So the only conference, because the Bears won the North... So the only conference that didn't see a repeat winner ended up being the Eagles of all teams.
Yep.
The one that hadn't seen it in that long, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Look, a lot of times we end up like making a shift here and all these other stuff. It's just kind of like a mix of you don't really know what your schedule is going to look like until the season starts.
Too many variables.
Feel for these teams.
Feel, but also we don't know who's getting hurt during preseason. That means they're out. We don't know if Mahomes is back for week 1 or week 8. We don't know. You know what I mean? There's just too many variables to freak out. Someone's asking if I'm sitting in the dark.
The sun came out.
It was cloudy and rainy all day, and now randomly it actually looks nice outside. I don't know if it is.
With the blinds up, you look like you need to have a deeper
looks like
voice.
it looks like we're on like Dateline, and I'm about to tell a story about this.
Can you alter your voice so that we don't know if it's you?
I can't. I'm laughing. I can't even do it now. But it looks like
And I look like bright as day.
You do.
Like just sunny and
yeah,
sun shining. I look great.
And then I was walking down the street. It's like
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's something like that.
We're going to have to lower those blinds, I believe.
I'll fix it right now.
You're going to fix it right now? Will we talk a little bit about the NFL and where things are headed? No, I just, for a lot of different reasons. I think it's nice sometimes because you think about the advantages, Gold, of what you get when you're a team that doesn't win as much in a given year and what that can bring you the following year. I'm just saying that the only benefit the Chiefs are going to get in that regard is the pick. Like, there's no other favors coming. The division is still hard. The schedule is still really hard. Don't look at the opponents right now and say that it's outside of there. So Slightly different change. I was got to close one more. He's still.
It didn't quite do the fix. It didn't quite.
Did it help?
A little bit, I suppose. It is.
Anybody got a line on some good
studio
studio lights?
It's better now.
That's what we need, Gold. We need some big, soft box lights hanging from the ceiling, lighting this place up like a professional setup. You know?
Yeah, it's better. Well, it's better than what it was. It's still not perfect, but we're good.
Are you guys somewhat surprised that this video stream still works? Let's have an honest conversation on this
Jeez,
show.
what are we?
You know?
That was a very.
We set this thing up years ago.
Blunt question.
Took forever.
Am I surprised? No, I mean, I'm not surprised that
Technology fails, man. We both just had to get new laptops.
Yeah, but the stream being up, I don't know if it's a surprising thing. The laptop you have mentioned multiple times.
It doesn't charge anymore. Or it doesn't hold a charge anymore. Let me rephrase.
Yeah, we're getting to that point where it's like my laptop or my old laptop.
If it's unplugged for more than 5 seconds, man, it's done.
Yeah, no, we bought good cameras and stuff. That wasn't the issue.
These cameras were your suggestion.
Yeah.
You said you'd used them at a previous location, I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
What a nice change.
They worked out.
I was going to ask you either that or Sean Barber was in the group chat suggesting that the Raiders draft Fernando Mendoza #1 and then hire Signetti, which is a take I saw Rich Eisen also give.
Yeah.
And offer up as an opinion. Look, here's the one thing.
It's not the craziest idea.
Well, why not?
I don't think it's ever happening, but it's not the craziest.
If you're Signetti, why not do it? This guy clearly just loves to win and loves to prove to people he's the smartest dude in the room. And honestly, when he said, Google me, I win, that man, I've never seen someone back up a bold statement quite like that. He said, Google me, I win, when he was going to Indiana, a school that nobody takes serious for football.
Had the most losses in FBS history. Yeah.
And now he's got him in a semifinal for a chance to win a national championship. If I'm the Raiders, I'm at least somewhat interested in
Here's
that.
the thing, though,
Other than he's older.
He is
and we
older.
just fired an older coach, quite a bit older than that.
The other part is like maybe I'm completely blanking on it. Can someone tell me an example where in the same offseason the college head coach went to the NFL to coach his college quarterback?
Never.
Yeah, so it doesn't happen. Like pipe dream stuff. It doesn't.
College once, why not?
Technically, this is the only chance probably it
You know
happens.
what though? But like part of this is like the outside the box thing. The Raiders are a laughing stock organization. Why not try? Maybe this would actually give instead of what we've been doing, which is let's draft a quarterback, fire their offensive coordinator or head coach halfway through a season, make them learn an entirely new system. How about a guy who instead coached a guy for the last 3 years, knows their strengths and weaknesses, can understand how to design an offense around their own success?
But he's not just coaching the quarterback.
See if it works.
He's not just coaching Fernando or Mendoza.
No,
like he's got to be able to relate and pros that are Drew. We were talking about this. Like he can't treat the guy that is making $55 million and the 3 other guys that are making $28 million the same way he was treating the guy that was on an $80,000 NIL deal.
It's the issue that Nick Saban had when he went to the NFL. I think some of it would ring true there.
Saban hated it, but Saban wasn't bad at it. I want to point that out as well.
I think Signetti would not. I don't think he would like it, but I think Signetti would be pretty good. I'll be honest. I think Kurt Signetti would probably be pretty solid, but I will say he might absolutely hate it.
Saban was 500 with Dante Culpepper and Jay Fiedler. So, Saban was not a failure. Saban wasn't a bad NFL coach. He hated being an NFL coach. But, Drew, as we've talked about in the sport, college is closer to the pros than it's ever been. It might be less of a jump for Signetti than it was for Saban.
I think there's some truth to that. I think that, being dealing with $5 million or $3 million for Mendoza or whatever it is different than max dollars and telling them that they need to wake up.
This is not so much that
I think there's it's still enough of a difference. I don't know if he would like it.
Yeah, someone said Jimmy Johnson, the Cowboys. Yeah, but so yes, Jimmy Johnson was at Miami, goes to the Cowboys, and they already had they had first overall pick Troy Aikman, and then he drafted his college quarterback Steve Walsh
to be the backup.
But that was in the supplemental draft, and that was to create competition. But that guy was never I hear you. It's close, but not. It's still not
going to play. Be the number 1 overall pick or the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah. I mean, they could become the Las Vegas Hoosiers. I mean, you bring in Signetti, and you got Mendoza, and you get Surratt or Omar Cooper, one of those guys.
You don't have to go all the way in on it, but this idea of, and we talk about this, Baker Mayfield's getting ready to have his 5th offensive coordinator for the Bucs. Alex Smith talked a lot about this, and I think that this really holds true, and organizations screw this up a lot, which is it turns out patience and consistency when it comes to offensive scheme and offensive system and head coach is a healthy thing for a quarterback and helps them with the transition. I like that far better than what has been the plan we were just joking about, which is the Tennessee Titans drafted Cam Ward #1 overall, fired their coach halfway through the season.
I mean, the Giants just did it too.
Yeah, and so for those quarterbacks, Jackson Dart and Cam Ward, they will have been with their third coach and third OC, or at least third coach, by the time they start game 1 of their second season. Who's that benefiting? Versus like this other side of like maybe it could work that he has 40 games or whatever. I don't think he's coached that many. 25 games of coaching Mendoza. Maybe he actually knows some things that will help the kid out and make the transition to the NFL, you know? Maybe he understands where his strengths are.
Like if we actually had like true serum and got the real answer right now from Kurt Sagan, something tells me he doesn't want to coach in the NFL.
Yeah,
maybe I'm way off on that.
I don't know, man. He's jumped up these leagues pretty quick.
He's still college.
Yeah, I think
I hear you though. Like
even though
I
the
don't know
money
for
is
sure.
there, I think you're right, Cody, and that there's more. It's closer in terms of the particulars, I think, but it's still it's still a little bit different with Sig.
Someone said, "Why are you talking about Cinzetti's?" Yeah, remember that place? Remember that place being around? Did you guys ever go there?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
When did they shut all those down?
A long time ago. To your guys' point, by the way, I just want to look it up. He has never coached anything in the NFL level. He's only been a college coach.
Yeah, he was Saban's assistant for the
That's what I'm
longest
saying.
time.
Like I don't know if he wants to go. I don't know if he would want to go to the NFL. And I don't think, you know.
What if the Steelers offer him the job? They fired Tomlin. He's from Pittsburgh.
Even worse. If I'm him, the only way I would go is if I had the situation where I'm with, and I got, you know what I mean? I got the
familiar.
talent.
He's from Pittsburgh. I just looked at it on Wikipedia.
Yeah. No,
Imagine if you're from Pittsburgh, you'd take the Steelers.
The Pittsburgh thing, the problem is like if Rodgers left, like they don't have a high draft pick, so you're not getting a young quarterback. You're still going to play this. You're going to get this middle of the road quarterback thing.
Best case is probably Ty Simpson if you want the young quarterback.
Ty Simpson, for the Chiefs' sake, you should hope that he does great at the combine and he ends up going in the top 10, and it's another quarterback that goes.
Help out.
Anything before pick 9. Hope he goes 3rd overall, 4th, 5th, whatever.
Yeah, you should hope that. I don't look. You guys know I actually kind of like Ty Simpson going back a couple months ago. He has not played as well, or did not play as well the final month and a half of the season, though. So I wonder if that hurt his stock. But if he has a great combine, will a team talk themselves into Ty Simpson in the top 10 instead of waiting till pick 18 or 20? For the Chiefs' sake, again, I
hope so.
I hope it's early.
Happens all the time.
Up next, someone says Cinzetti's still open. Really?
Haven't been lately.
91st and Metcalf. No kidding. I thought they were all done.
Show lunch next time we get a Royals day in April.
We got a long list of that. We still are supposed to go to Chuck's Arcade.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Belated Drew's birthday. It's almost your birthday now.
It is next week. Yeah.
Yeah, we can celebrate.
We can do both. We can
Arcade.
combine. Let's go to Chuck's.
When's your half birthday, Drew?
A lot of people texting about Cinzetti said they still go. Top-notch buffet, somebody said.
Oh, it's a buffet?
That's you. That's all you, Drew. That's your thing. We learned that a long time ago.
Not since he got sick.
You haven't gone back to the Chinese
I haven't had a buffet
that you went
since,
to. Good decision on the Chinese. That particular Chinese buffet you went to, probably not a smart.
Decisions were made.
Yeah. All right, up next, quick what's trending, and then Danan Hughes joined us. We asked him about what the Chiefs should look for in a new OC, and what about the draft, even with all the Rashee Rice allegations that are out there.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the gridiron action because you can win money and make entries right now on the Missouri side. Plus, because it is, of course, wild card weekend, Underdog's adding a gimme pick on a quarterback of your choice from any of the wild card games just to get you started. It's super easy. You just choose which favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. I happen to like Caleb Williams to go higher than 209.5 passing yards over on Underdog. All you got to do is get them right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. So many different ways to make selections over at Underdog. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets at underdogfantasy.com/play/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncbgambling.org.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
Chick-fil-A's new frosted sodas and floats, it's a 10 out of 10. Hey, this is Lizzie, a team member at my local Chick-fil-A, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and new frosted sodas and floats is how well they go together. You will love having your favorite soda blended with our creamy ice stream to make a new frosted soda or float. With the mix of the ice stream and soda fizz, it's so delicious, I call it Fizz-delicious.
Order a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and a new frosted soda and float at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant. Real team member paid for their testimonial.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
What if your instincts could pay off? With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you can put your sports IQ to work on the games you know best. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. Buy or sell your predictions all game long. Trade every play with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's Robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station. What's trending?
God dang!
Brought to you by Telly Tire and Auto Centers. Winning starts with a great drive. Since 1942, Telly's certified techs have delivered complete car care with top brand tires and expert auto service. Keep your drive going. Take it to Telly. Visit TellyTire.com today.
Number one on what's trending, the NFL put out a statement today acknowledging they're aware of the allegations toward Rashee Rice, saying that they will work through that as it pertains to the personal conduct policy. If you haven't seen it, very serious allegations on Instagram last night from the mother of Rashee Rice's two children, from his ex-girlfriend, alleging, among many things, that he put his hands on her, locked her outside in 10-degree weather, multiple instances of cheating, cut up her clothing, abandoned the family in Kansas while leaving for Texas. These are some of the things she alleges that he did. We, of course, don't have a police report at this point in time. We don't know if we'll ever get one, but these are photos that are attached to the post that are very disturbing. And the Chiefs put out a statement last night, said they're aware of the allegations. They don't have any comment other than that at this point in time. I don't know if we're going to ever hear any more about this or not. I don't know. As far as the football side of it, if in fact any of this is true, and or there has a police report filed, or we find out more evidence, then he's done. If there's not, then I think it just changes hey, there's no way in hell you're giving an extension to this guy. How on earth would you?
I think no matter what.
Yeah, how could you?
And the Chiefs are going to have to reevaluate how they take on cases of players who because he had character concerns
at SMU
going into the draft. And so they still decided to go that route. And at this point, it's not paying off. Next up on What's Trending, the Dolphins have fired head coach Mike McDaniel. They're saying they're not, or at least all the reporting saying they're not doing this just to hire John Harbaugh. although there's a good relationship with the Harbaugh family and the Rosses. But after a meeting between the two, I guess decided to part ways. That makes 8 openings of 32 teams. 25% of the league has a head coaching vacancy as it sits right now. Only 2 general manager openings. So a lot of GMs retaining their jobs and running out the coaches this time around. Sometimes it's both. In this case, Mike McDaniel out, yet another opening. And if you're asking me, hey, Cody, do you think you'd like Mike McDaniel as the OC as the Chiefs? Hell yes, I would. Do I think he'll become the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs? No. Not as optimistic about that. But would I take him? Yes. Absolutely yes.
Elsewhere on what's trending, Andy Rodgers reporting that multiple Royals players who are eligible for salary negotiation through arbitration or otherwise have come up with deals. Michael Massey agreeing to a $1.57 million contract. Also, Daniel Lynch agreeing to a $1.025 million deal. So they avoid arbitration.
Vinny's up for arbitration, I believe, as well. So we'll have to keep an eye out for the arbitration.
I haven't seen a deal.
Again, this is these are the first early deals. They don't all get done day one. Obviously, you don't have to. You got a few more weeks before you got to sit in an arbitration meeting and make it all awkward. Next up on What's Trending, Matt Nagy will interview with the Ravens, according to multiple sources. That makes 4 interviews at least for Matt Nagy as NFL teams start piling those things in. The Ravens would be an excellent gig for him if he could get it. But I imagine that they will be choosing from a long list of candidates that they'll have available to them, but at least Matt Nagy on the interview list with Baltimore.
Tonight, college football playoffs, man. Semifinal, Ole Miss, Miami starts at 6:30. The Running Rebels, slight dogs tonight. I believe 3.5 is the last number I saw against Carson Beck incoming. Can't wait for this game. Yeah, and when you look at Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin, their offense hasn't missed a beat. That's the part that gives me a little hope. I think, Drew, you said you're on Miami. They're playing such good football right now.
Same.
I'll take Ole Miss to cover. I don't know if they win outright, but I think they can cover.
Thinking and hoping it'll be a good game tonight.
Yeah. And then tomorrow we'll get the other semifinal.
Lastly, on What's Trending, just a little bit of the happenings around college football. DJ Lagway, the most recent quarterback to enter the portal, says he'll be heading to Baylor via the transfer portal. And former NFL tight end Jason Witten is heading to Oklahoma to be their tight ends coach.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, I imagine he knows how to play tight end.
Yeah.
Seeing how he did it for a very long time, quite successfully. But he's going to head to, I'm guessing, did he go to Oklahoma? Obviously, do not remember. It's been a long time since Jason Witten was in college.
Or does he know Venables? He went to.
I don't know if Jason Witten went to Oklahoma or not.
He did go to Oklahoma.
Off the top of my head.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was talking about.
No, he's from Tennessee, too.
Who's it? I don't know where he went to college.
I have a guess, but I don't want to be.
Oh, no. Tennessee. He went to college in Tennessee.
He's from Tennessee, yeah.
Well, either way, he's coaching at Oklahoma.
I wonder if he knows Venables or something. Anyway,
it also helps a little bit to get those recruits in there. I mean, you think about a tight end. I can go get coached by.
He spent the last
Jason
4 years
Witten.
being a high school football coach, head coach in high school football.
So he's been around that.
So maybe he's just trying to move up the circuit. You'd be a tight ends coach. Maybe you can find yourself as an OC job and eventually a college head coach.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Earlier today, former Chiefs wide receiver Danan Hughes joined us. We started our conversation asking him, what does he think the Chiefs need in their new offensive coordinator?
Yeah, that's a tough dynamic when you have a coach, a head coach with the resume of Andy Reid. I mean, how much would he be willing to hand over to an incoming new OC? And sometimes the successes that you experience kind of make you a little bit jaded towards being open to new ideas and new people. So, and I think that's human nature, guys. It's not a knock towards Andy Reid, but when you've had the successes of 7 straight AFC championships appearances and 5 Super Bowls and 3 Super Bowl wins, like, let's think from a human perspective. If you guys and your radio show was number 1 in the country 5 of the last 7 years, like, how much input would you take from Speck or somebody else as far as somebody new coming in? It just
very little, Danan. That's the truth. Very little.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, this is not, like, something that's abnormal. But I feel like if you are going to say that Patrick Mahomes is going to begin and end his career in Kansas City, then he has to be a part of the decision-making in regards to the offensive coordinator, as well as being involved in the wide receiver coach with Connor Embry being fired. So I think it's got to be an all-encompassed, collective kind of dynamic when you bring Brett Veach in and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, because from a running back standpoint, from a wide receiver standpoint, from a continuity offensively, if you listen to the broadcast, now pregame shows, and me on Players Only, which the last show will be tonight, you will hear me have some critique about wide receivers that were not successful outside the numbers. And I think that's got to be at the front of the new OC and the new wide receivers' mind, in conjunction with Patrick Mahomes. Hey, how do we get wins outside the numbers? Because every other team knows how to do it, and we haven't been successful in that. And then how do we get the running game going? Because as much as we would like, and I've listened to you guys' show, I listened to Dusty and Fesco all week, as much as we would like to say improvement in the running game, and I'm not saying that that's not the case, that it's not necessary, we also have to factor the simple thing that I've said for the last 5 years on the broadcast. Every time Patrick Mahomes hands the ball off, the best player in the league does not have the ball. So as an OC and a head coach, you have to decide how often you want that dynamic to happen. And that's a tough situation to have to deal with when you have the best quarterback in the league, especially when he's healthy. So I think everybody just needs to be on the same accord and make sure that they go into 2026 with the same like-minded approach. Hey, we are all in this together. We're going to fix it however way we can fix it. But those are specific areas I think they need to be addressed.
Danan, to your point on the you wouldn't change much, Alex and I have made a big point about that. It's like, up to this season, why would you think some part of your process wasn't working when you had attended 5 of 7 Super Bowls and obviously went to 3 in a row, even if you didn't win all of those? But it's like the wake-up call nature of it. Andy doesn't make big moves like moving on from offensive coordinators unless he thinks big things got in the way of what happened. And so do you think there's any other big move on the horizon? Do you think, because I think moving on from Dave Toub is, even though it's a special teams coordinator, they're boys. I think if something like that happened, that would suggest that Andy realized that there were major issues this previous season.
Yeah, I don't anticipate that. I think Dave Toub is still one of the top special teams coaches in the NFL. He's the assistant head coach for a reason, which tells you a lot about their relationship. And I'm a former player, so I'm always going to lean towards, when it's all said and done, the player has to do their job. So during the season, we were critiquing Harrison Butker. We can't blame Dave Toub for that. He's the only kicker on the roster. He has to go out there and do his job. The onus is on the player. Now, you may want to say, okay, some of the holding penalties, how do you get away with that? But holding is up all around the league. Every single game we watch on kickoff coverage and kickoff return, you see multiple holding penalties. It's based on the dynamic kickoff rule that I just don't think players have been as good at addressing and adjusting to as they were in previous times. So, I like Dave Toub. I like his approach. I think he's had success in this league. There's just a component that players have to get better, and I think we have a good core of young talent with Jeffrey Bossa, Cooper McDonald, Kevin Knowles, Noel Williams, that I think can stabilize the special teams unit, where I don't think it should cost him his job.
We're talking to Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver, here on 96.5 The Fan. We don't know how anything's going to play out with the allegations, I understand, that are out there with Rashee Rice. But how do you feel about the wide receiver offseason plan? Assuming he is still available, and if he were not to be available, does that mean at number 9 it's almost has to be a wide receiver in your opinion?
Man, I don't know if number 9 has to be a wide receiver, because I'm still leaning towards defensive line. I need a game changer at the defensive line position, and if Chris Jones is going to be a guy that's going to tutor that guy and help bring him along, I mean, when you see the effects of guys like Jalen Carter, when they go and get 2 defensive linemen from Georgia and thrust them right into a lineup, how that automatically changes the whole dynamic of a defense. And if you're still kind of questioning what you're going to do with Trent McDuffie, you can't have questions in the back end of a defense as well as questions that consistently showed themselves this year on the front end. The front four have to figure out a way to get home. We cannot be just a blitzing team and lean on our defensive backs to make magical plays when the quarterback has extended amount of time. Like that to me as the number one issue with this Chiefs team was the defensive front and their inability to get home, to disrupt passing games, and get out of third down situations. You look at this defense, they were 29th in the NFL in third down production. You can't, like, I don't care what's happening on the offensive side, special team side, 3rd and 17, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 18. Like, I'm thinking back to specific situations where we should have gotten off the field and we didn't. And it happened on numerous occasions. And if Chris Jones is going to be around, his production has declined, then we need to have somebody waiting in the bullpen that's going to be able to come in and take in that role. Think about when Chris Jones came into the league. You had, aging Tom Bahali, you had Justin Houston that was around, and you had guys that you could basically hand the baton off to Chris Jones, a young Chris Jones, where he was able to come in, hit the ground running, and make a name for himself. Maybe this is the time where we have to look at that succession or the succession plan for that defensive line position. Charles Omenihu didn't get it done. George Karlaftis, we signed a long deal for him. He's going to be around, but there needs to be somebody on the interior that's going to be able to pick up some of the slack and maybe reestablish the identity of this defense.
So I'm 1,000% with you on defensive line. Like even 24 hours ago, I was like, no question, defensive line. I'm just trying to figure out what the wide receiver room would look like if, and again, we have no idea how this is going to play out with Rashee Rice the rest of this offseason.
Yeah.
But if Travis Kelce were to retire and Rice weren't available, I mean, we're talking about Xavier Worthy and Jalen Royals, basically the only guys under contract and offensive weapons in the pass game.
Yeah, make no mistake. Just because I went on that rant about the defensive line, I'm not saying anything about our wide receivers, and I'm not trying to. Just because I'm a former wide receiver, I'm not in protective mode about wide receivers. Connor Embry, as you guys mentioned, I don't call for people's jobs, but I think you guys were very clear, and so was Fesco and Dusty earlier. The guys that we've had have not developed, and if that just in itself means that you have to move away from the wide receiver coach and get somebody else in, I think that is definitely a key. What we've seen from Xavier Worthy, I don't want to go another year where it seems like he's a one-trick pony, where it's either a deep ball perfectly thrown, where he's either going to make a catch or draw a penalty, or if he's going to be a jet sweep guy or shallow cross guy or crossing route guy. Like, I want to see wide receivers that win on the outside. And I think when you look at the landscape of this season, specifically defenses trying to defend our wide receivers, they didn't really have to worry about outside the number production. They just had to worry about passing off crossing routes and all the window dressing that the offense presented with our wide receivers and linebackers coming into play with safeties also. So getting a taller, more rangy guy that you can throw up deep balls to, back shoulder throws in the red zone, hitch routes, all the things that we saw from like the CeeDee Lambs and the George Pickens and the wide receiver crew, the Mims Jr. And from the Denver Broncos. Like, we need to see that become a staple, not just an aspect of our offense, but a staple of our offense. But I agree. Like, if Rashee Rice's issues off the field are all true, then he's not with the team next year. Like, I get it. This second chance, this would be a second chance. This would be the most egregious a second chance that he would have failed at in regards to domestic violence. And you have to move along from that. And going from a draft of Xavier Worthy in the first round, Rashee Rice in the second round, Sky Moore in the third round, and none of those guys becoming your number one bona fide threat. I don't know if you go back to the draft for the first or second round, you definitely go back to the draft again, but maybe the second round or third round, and you got to go get an established vet because you need that immediate impact. It can't be a growth process with another young talent.
Danan, who do you like in the playoffs coming up on Saturday? Now I'm kind of curious where you stand on the AFC and NFC side. We did our root against and root for index, like the people you would most likely cheer for and the teams you'd cheer against. Alex was against the Bills, Eagles, and Broncos. Broncos number one in his. And then I also had the Patriots. I don't want to see them win anymore. Was on my side as well. Who are you who do you actually think wins, I guess, on the NFC and AFC side?
So I think because of the history of the Chiefs, PR, coaching, and front office tree going to Chicago and having some friends up in Chicago and it being such a long drought for them, I think from a NFC perspective, I'm leaning on the Bears. I think from the AFC, that's tough because there was a part of me that was like, okay, if it's not the Chiefs, I guess the Bills. And I say that so begrudgingly. I say that like from the pit of my stomach, like I guess. But then as we move more towards this weekend, I'm like, screw the Bills. Like I don't want them to win. Like,
right.
So I'm having this tug of war going on in my head from an AFC perspective, and I feel like I'm leaning more towards the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just feel like they've done it the right way. They beat us the right way. They have shown themselves to be the up-and-coming, and Trevor Lawrence has really done a fine job becoming MVP candidate when there was so much on his shoulders and so much critique leading up into this season. Like, somebody new like that, I feel like that would be the warm, fuzzy story, and I can go along with that if I had to.
Do you like, I guess, you know what? I will take a Bears-Jags Super Bowl. That feels very, not pressure-packed.
Harmless? Is that what you're
saying? Yeah. Harmless
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If we're not in it, if the number one team in the world is not in it, in the Kansas City Chiefs, then having those two in it, like that would be kind of apropos for the year. That would like put a full exclamation point on the 2025 season.
Look, I don't think Sean McDermott is terrible, but I also want him to win one game so he doesn't get fired. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want him to lose Saturday or whenever they're playing and get fired potentially because there's a lot of speculation about that, and then they go and get a new head coach. And I kind of like what I've seen with the limitations with Sean McDermott.
When I tell you that there's this strange kind of split in my brain right now where part of me kind of wants to go along with you, but the other part of me is like, screw the Bills. Like I don't care about them. Like they can spiral downward, and I could care less. We have to go there in their new stadium next year already, so we already know that. Western New York, I have no affinity for. I get it.
That's right. You're a Jersey guy.
Yeah, I get your points, but at the same time, I'm like, nah.
So that was Danan Hughes earlier today with us talking about some of those teams that might not be pulling for come Saturday and Sunday wild card weekend. Tomorrow we will talk more on the NFC side. I know we gave kind of our predictions on how we think the AFC wild card can go. Will go, and we'll talk more on the NFC side tomorrow. I will point out, just because earlier we referenced Jason Withington, who is one of the Clay County commissioners, and how he was saying he's done negotiating with the Royals. And we kind of said, hey, that's fine, but there's six others.
Speaking for everybody.
He just put out an updated tweet clarifying. He said, to be clear, when I said I meant me, not the full commission. I was speaking for myself, my own experience. Every commissioner is free to make up their own mind, which we kind of figured, but that is direct from him because